Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to the Daily Cooking Show, the Daily Cooking Stream. I hope you're all having a beautiful Sunday. Today is New Year's Eve, and depending on where and when you're watching from, it might actually just be the new year. It might even be 2024 for you. It's not. It is currently 5 p.m. EST. If you're watching this live, and if you're already watching the VOD, then congratulations. We're in 2024. We're doing a little bit of a special New Year's Eve stream. Hello to Crimson King, welcome on in. Hello to Jack, hello to Tabio. It's lovely to have all of you here today. We're gonna have a little sip of water and we'll talk about everything that we're doing today. That's right, Val. We got the black nitrile gloves. Also, hello to Jackie Peanuts, welcome on in. Hello to KO Wolf and hello to Kaze. Welcome in, everybody. I'm a little bit sleepy. I'm a little bit underslept today yet again, but I'm going to try my best to keep myself composed, so be nice and patient. Hello to Nalem as well. Let's talk about what we'll be doing today. I am going to be doing a beautiful little chicken curry today. We'll be doing a chicken tomato curry, and this is all happening because yesterday we did the Saturday stream, or rather we did the stream where we did a big old thing of soup. I bought a whole chicken, I deboned it, I took the bones and I made a stock and I made a soup with it. Today, we're left with all of these different chicken pieces. And so, in my mind, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm craving a curry. So we're going to do a curry today. We're going to debone these beautiful legs. We're going to take the skin off of everything. We're going to try our best to take the tendons off. We're going to get everything really nice and tender. We're going to make a beautiful sauce using, I got some tomatoes right here, my friends. Some big, beautiful tomatoes. I also have some bird's eye chilies because that's what I have available to me. So we're going to make a lovely sauce out of all of that. We're going to add some half and half to it and the additional red pepper tomato sauce from the Spätzle that we did on Friday. If you guys remember it. Do you remember it? You should be remembering it. Thank you. We're actually going to reincorporate this back into the curry because the flavor profile is right there where it needs to be. And then we're going to have a lot of beautiful spices going in today. We have whole cumin seeds. We have turmeric. We have coriander seeds. We have fenugreek. We have yellow mustard seeds. And we're also going to do some black cardamom. Okay, really, really aromatic stuff. I'm going to tell you all about how to use it. We're going to grind up our own spices today. It's going to be amazing. And then in addition to all of that, my friends, we will be making a homemade ghee. A little homemade ghee. And we'll talk all about that. And we'll talk about the differences between a ghee and a clarified butter. Because, everybody, let me tell you something right now. Ghee and clarified butter are used interchangeably when they actually really shouldn't be. They're two slightly different products, and we'll talk about the semantics and the different definitions. But essentially, we're going to melt down this butter, we're going to clarify it, we're going to toast it, and I'm going to show you exactly what the difference is. So I have a question for everybody in chat. Does anybody know the point of why we even clarify butter? Why do we make ghee to begin with? Why do we do this process? And this process is essentially melting it, and we're going to do a couple of things to it. Does anybody know why? I'm just curious what the general reference base of knowledge is like in chat. Yeah, you're gonna make a little bit of ghee for tomorrow, Zio? Exciting, very nice. But do you understand the importance, do you understand the relevance of this? So, there's a couple of things going on. First, we have to talk about what a clarified butter or a ghee even is, fundamentally speaking. Butter, in its natural form, the way that it comes in, is not pure fat. Butter is not pure fat. It is a certain percentage of butter fat, and then the rest of it is a mixture of water and a bunch of proteins and sugars. That's why butter tastes the way that it does. That's why butter hisses and pops when you melt it, because there is quite literally water that is being actively evaporated. And that is why butter burns so easily, because of the fact that butter is not a pure fat, because of the fact that it has all these little proteins in it. It is not suitable to cook with at high temperatures for extended amounts of time, because those little proteins, those little sugars, they tend to burn, and the water tends to splash and pop all over the place. And the process of making a ghee or a clarified butter, and I'll talk to you about the difference, is essentially melting the butter, evaporating the liquid, okay, for the clarified butter, and then for the ghee, the difference is we toast the milk solids. That's what it's called, right? Those little proteins, those little sugars, those are called milk solids, okay? And so, in a ghee, those get slightly toasted, and then we strain the whole thing out. And what you get is this beautiful melted fat that you can then cook with at a higher temperature, with a very slight nutty taste of the toasted milk solids inside. But the beauty of it, you take away all of those milk solids, and you get a much more temperature stable fat. The butter does not burn nearly as easily. okay? And that is why we go through this entire process. And I'm going to show you, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. This is my first time, but I've seen people make a ghee a million times. And I'm going to show you exactly step by step on how to do this. And then you can just keep this in your fridge, and it's a delicious animal fat that you can use in a variety of things. My favorite thing to use ghee for is something like hash browns, because hash browns, they tend to soak up a lot of fat. You can't use butter because it burns. You don't want to use oil because oil tastes like shit, right? And so that's why you use butter, or rather in this case, clarified butter, and I'll show you exactly how to make it. So, my friends, are you ready for today? Hello to Scribbler. Welcome on in. Does anybody have any questions before we begin? And if we are ready, I want to hear a resounding, unanimous yes, chef. Please and thank you right now as I take a little sip of water. I was a little bit slow. Yes, chef? Perfect. Unanimous yes, chef. Dolingo, you took my directions a little bit too literally. Every single time with you, isn't it? Okay, so my friends, let's begin. And let's begin to make the ghee. And we'll talk about its importance over and over again. And once again, everybody, if you have any questions whatsoever, please. Also, actually, wait, before we begin, a couple of things. First of all, if you don't already know, you can type in !menu in the chat. We're going to just be doing that every single time now. Second of all, I launched my Patreon the other day. I launched my Patreon. Overall, okay, I need a little bit of support to help fund the actual grocery cost of everything. I have a couple of tiers in there. Essentially, if I get like 12 or 15 people of the highest tier, that's every single month, all of my cooking streams get funded for the grocery cost alone. Okay, so absolutely no pressure whatsoever. There's going to be a specific Patreon Discord, but I'm not going to be paywalling any information. There will be no paywalled information. This is purely if you want to help out, support, and fund. What takes a bigger cut, Patreon or Streamlabs? Streamlabs technically does because of PayPal transaction business fees. So Patreon is a little bit better for me in that regard. So everybody, I apologize for shilling. I just really wanted to talk about it. You can find the panel below. You can also just go into my Twitch About section. You can also go to patreon.com/Daramgar. Anything is going to be able to help you. I just really want to be able to get the streams out of the negative because groceries are expensive. Okay, that's enough of that. Everybody, let's begin. Let's start talking about the ghee. So my friends, we need two things. A pan. Guess what? We have a beautiful little saucepan right here. And then we're also going to need some butter. And you can make as much ghee as you want. Okay? You can make as much of this as you want. So, we need to talk about exactly what this process looks like. Remember, we want to get rid of all of the excess water out of the butter, right? Because the water is what pops and sizzles. We want to get the proteins out of the butter as well, because that's what actually causes butter to burn. And the process is this. First, before the milk solids can actually brown and toast, we have to evaporate the liquid. Second, okay, what we have to do is then to slightly brown some of the solids to give the whole thing a bit of a nutty flavor. The difference is clarified butter does not have toasted milk solids. Ghee has toasted milk solids. Also, hello to Scallywag. Welcome on in. That is the only difference between the two. But I see people use clarified butter and ghee interchangeably. They're not the same thing. Clarified butter has a much less nutty taste because we don't brown the milk solids. And brown butter is essentially just taking it a step past ghee and making the milk solids like super dark brown and caramelized. So, I have 2 sticks of butter. You can use a nice butter here, my friends. Okay, I'm just using a couple of sticks of Kerrygold butter in this case. And technically, European style butters will be a little bit easier to actually clarify to make a ghee with because they have a higher fat percentage. And taza, welcome on in. Fenugreek is a spice that is used very, very often in a lot of different like Indian cooking. It's lovely, it's super aromatic, it's delicious. Okay, so my friends, 2 sticks of Kerrygold butter. I'm using here. Again, I like Kerrygold, I think it tastes good, right? A lot of like the sort of like cheaper butters, right? They tend to have a lot more liquid, so they tend to pop a lot more when you try to heat them up. This is still going to pop, it's still gonna sizzle. And now, I'm just gonna get that over to the stove, turn the heat on, and we're just gonna let the whole thing melt. So my friends, the entire process of making ghee, the entire process of doing this is a balance of temperature control. In the beginning, while it is saturated with liquid, while the butter has a lot of liquid inside of it, it's not actually going to burn. Once you start evaporating enough of the liquid, the proteins, they rise to the top and they fall back down, okay? And from then on, the proteins can get nice and brown. We don't want to push them too far. We just want to get them nice and golden. If we were doing something like a brown butter, we would mix it up and we would really, really heavily brown it. right? And you would see that all the time in different desserts. You'd see that in like a brown butter sauce. Does anybody have any questions about this process so far? And we're doing this so that we get a much more temperature stable butter, right, the ghee, that we can then cook with, because I love the taste of ghee. I love it. It's super, super delicious. And in general, I love working with animal fats, right? Especially because we're making a curry. All of the fat is actually going to end up getting integrated into the dish. And so you want to make sure that you have a tasty fat, right? In Indian cooking, you typically see 3 different fats being used. You see coconut oil, you see mustard seed oil, or you see, in this case, ghee. And those are your 3 basic cooking oils, is my understanding. And Indian cooking, I mean, to even call it a cuisine is not giving it enough justice because of how regional it is. Right? The regions where you see a lot of coconut oil being used to cook things in, you'd also see a lot more coconut cream and shaved coconut, right? In this case, where you are seeing the presence of the ghee, you would also have a couple more animal products as well. It's super, super regional, and we're gonna make the curry using this beautiful butter. And you can already see the butter is melting down nicely. We can still stick with a medium-high heat at this stage because there is no chance that the butter will burn. Only once it really, really starts foaming up and starts boiling away do we actually have that risk of burning the butter, my friends. So this is just a slight game of temperature control. So the idea is this: we evaporate the liquid, and then we get all the protein solids at the bottom. Then afterwards, we have to strain the whole thing out. We don't want any of the solids in the ghee itself, because then it's counterintuitive and we've defeated the whole purpose. So I'm going to show you how to set up a station for this. Ready? So we need a straining station. That's all we need, my friends. Here's what we're going to need. We're going to need a bowl that we're going to pour the whole thing out in. Ideally, a tall vessel would be pretty good here, maybe like a glass jar. But the reason I'm using this is so that I can then really, really easily put a strainer over it. But this is a metal strainer. It's way too wide. We need one last thing, my friends, for the setup. We need one last thing, and that is going to be a coffee filter. You can use cheesecloth, you can use a coffee filter. I just have these coffee filters at hand at home. So this is going to strain out all of the browned milk solids. This is just going to make sure that it's holding it up, and then all of the beautiful ghee is just going to go into the bowl, my friends. Does anybody have any questions? If not, then I want to hear the no chef. Okay. And so after we do this, my friends, we're going to make a beautiful freshly toasted spice powder for the curry itself. We're going to make a lovely little, sauce, or I guess as, British Indian people would call it, a gravy, right? Also, I feel like this can be a little bit more like that. Okay. Okay, my friends, let's head to the stove. So let's look at what's happening now. Look at the fact that it's boiling. It is boiling away. All of that is the liquid that is already present in the butter. Remember, butter is not a pure fat. It's not pure butter fat. It has the milk solids and it has the liquid. So we're boiling it away. We're trying to get it to evaporate. And you see all that foamy stuff on the top? You see those little, like the white foam? That's all of the proteins beginning to rise to the surface. And then eventually, it's just going to settle back down, and we will have a beautiful ghee in no time. This is a very quick, this is a very easy process. But at the moment, we're boiling it out, my friends. We're boiling it, we're evaporating all of the liquid, okay? And this can just hold in the fridge basically as long as regular butter can, if not longer, actually. I don't know about the shelf life, the fridge life of ghee, but it's delicious. You can use it in eggs, you can use it in stews, you can use it in soups, you can put it on some bread if you would like as well. There's a million different uses that you can use for this. It's basically, you can cook with butter that holds up to higher temperatures. That's all that ghee is, my friends. Also, hello to OMG Pete, welcome on in. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. But yeah, this stuff is super, super delicious, right? You'd see it like typically spread on, like naan or like a roti, right? And then just sort of like served that way. You would see ghee, I believe it would sometimes make up something called like a tadka. And then it would be sort of like drizzled over at the end of a lot of dishes. Or you would see it in this application, which is, we're actually gonna cook with it. Why is ghee stinky though? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Buju. I've never really considered it as smelly before. What you're probably smelling is the toasted proteins in it, right? Because ghee has the toasted milk solid, so it's like a little bit nutty, it's a little bit caramelized, a little bit sweeter in a way because of it. But now take a look, my friends. It's aggressively boiling away. We don't have to mix it, we don't have to stir it. We can keep the whole process super, super simple. You can see it foaming up You can see the super, super yellow color, right? Because it's still distributing all the milk solids. And then as soon as it stops boiling, you know that we've gotten rid of all of the liquid. That's what we're doing. We're getting rid of the liquid. And now this is the point where we want to start having like a low, medium heat here. Because otherwise, it's going to start sticking to the sides and browning and burning the milk solids too much. Okay? So we're letting it go. We're letting it do its thing here. And we just have to be nice and patient. And once that's done, all that we have to do is just strain it out into the coffee filter. And just like that, my friends, that's how you make ghee. And the only point that we're really looking for, is for it to stop boiling and bubbling away. That tells us that all the liquid is gone. If you wanted to do a clarified butter instead, you need to be constantly scraping up the milk solids on top. In the traditional method of making ghee and waiting it for it to sink back down, you will get that nutty flavor developed. If you just want a clean, super clean tasting clarified butter, you would take a little like a strainer spoon, right? Like a fine mesh spoon. You can find those online, like the kinds that you would use to like skim stocks and stuff. And you would go over the top and scoop some of those milk solids out. And that would prevent you from having a toasted flavor. Then you just have the super clarified butter. Really tasty stuff. It sure is. Hello, keepers. Welcome on in. How are you doing today? But yeah, I am not going out on New Year's this year at all. Ooh, look at it go. Look at it. It's foaming up and it's going to sink back down. I promise. Nice medium low heat. Oh, whoa. Are we foaming up that much? Hello? Is it going to start spilling over? I think it's going to start spilling over. Oh, that's like a problem. Okay, buddy, we're going to need you to sink back down. We're going to need you to sink back down. I think I might have slightly overfilled my pot here. That got really, really foamy really fast. Guys, wait, hold on. This was completely unexpected. This is completely unanticipated. My heat might have actually just been a little bit too strong. Okay, I'm gonna stir this around, hopefully get it to sink back down. I don't want this to overflow and, cause a fire or anything. And again, this is because it's just becoming a little bit more viscous. We're boiling away the liquid. Those are all the protein solids still. I am considering a slightly bigger pot for this, actually. Hello, Evil. Welcome on in. You're not late at all. In fact, we have a little bit of an entertaining mishap at the moment. My ghee has started boiling over. So I'm just trying to now mix it up so that we can hopefully get it to come back down. Now, if it's going to keep doing this, I might just have to transfer this over to a bigger pot. That might be the one little adjustment that we have to do here. So what happens if we do a super tiny heat, super low heat? Is it going to boil over? Is it going to do the thing? I don't think it will. I think we'll be okay. All right. That was a little bit unexpected. Again, it's my first time actually doing this. I've just seen it be done a million times before. Why, thank you. I've seen this be done a million times before, and I was pretty confident going into this process. Okay, it's sinking back down. All of the air bubbles are escaping. Everything is fine. Everything is okay, I think. Gamers, we're so back. We're so back. We've never been more back in my life. Okay, and this is going to be fundamental to the dish, of course. This is the cooking fat that I want for the dish. I didn't want to use an oil. I didn't want to use like a canola oil or anything. The ghee has been calmed. That's right. Okay. All right, buddy. All right, pal. Oh, geese. Oh man, that was corny. All right. I've never said anything corny in my life. So why did it start foaming up so aggressively? Now, I will say, it did stop boiling. And the fact that it stopped boiling, you know what that tells me? That tells me that we've actually gotten rid of all of the liquid. The ghee is going to be for the curry doctors. We're going to cook all of the stuff in the ghee. We're going to cook the tomatoes, the onions, everything in the ghee itself. Okay? So, as long as this is no longer bubbling, it does tell us that we've gotten rid of a substantial amount of the liquid. So let's try to strain this off now. If anything, guess what? I just spoiled 2 sticks of butter, and I'm going to have to try again. I might have overcooked it. That's my guess at the moment. Okay, so let's see what happens. We're going to try and strain this out directly into the coffee filter. Yeah, that's definitely a little bit more brown than I would have liked initially. I'm going to try my best to push it through the coffee filter. And if anything, there's a very good chance here that I'm going to have to start again. It's very, very possible, okay? So we'll see how good of a job this coffee filter does for us. Okay, it's coming through. It's doing the job just fine. Look at that, my friends. Beautiful ghee. And in fact, what I might do, yeah, and you can smell it now, right? You can smell, at this point, the super, super beautiful toasted buttery smell. And that's the beauty of ghee. You slightly brown up those milk solids, and what you get in exchange is this beautiful fat that you can then cook with that has so much flavor. So ghee, keepers, is, it's not a clarified butter. It is butter that's clarified after we toast the milk solids. The difference between clarified butter and ghee is that in ghee, the little proteins that are present in butter end up getting browned. And ghee is very, very important to cook with because butter naturally, I know I'm repeating myself for anybody else that's actually here, but for anybody that's newer who might not actually be like too knowledgeable about this process, the difference with ghee is that as opposed to butter, it does not have any remaining liquid in it. Okay? Butter has so much liquid that it starts hissing and popping. It hisses and it pops, and you can see, my friends, look at all of these solids. You see all of these solid pieces? That is what is naturally present in butter. Butter is not pure butter fat by any means. And now look at it. It's all coming out. It's getting a little bit cloudy now, which is telling me that I'm actually pushing this too much. I'm going to just get this into the sink now. Right? And this should now be beautiful ghee, my friends. Take a look. You can see how clear it is. When was the last time? And I don't think I did it perfectly. Right? I definitely have some solids that I accidentally ended up pushing through. Typically, it is bad form with like a cheesecloth or like a coffee filter to push things through it because that's how you actually get solids to come out of it. But overall, I think I did a pretty good job. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to taste to see if it's burnt at all. I'm not going to do that spice cake. I'm not going to dump oil down the drain. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to, and remember, this is hot oil, effectively. We're going to take a little piece of bread. I'm going to dip it in, and I'm going to taste it. Because if this is burnt, we're going to start this process all over again. I have a concern that this might be accidentally burnt. Because if it's like, you see that like slightly dark color that it has to it, it's a little bit darker than I'm comfortable with for ghee. So all I'm going to do, my friends, is I'm just going to pinch a little bit of bread off. I'm going to spoon some of the hot ghee on it, and hopefully it's not burning hot or anything. A little bit of that. Sweet. It's great. It's perfect. Okay, we did it. That's all it takes. That was perfect. Has a very slight nuttiness, as opposed to just clean clarified butter. But now, this is going to be what we're going to use to cook with. Okay? We have now made the butter stable. Everybody, we've stabilized the butter. We've done it. Beautiful ghee. It's going to make a beautiful curry. We have some onions. We have a bunch of other stuff to do now. Everybody, we have now completed one step of the process today. For anybody that's just tuning in, we're making a chicken tomato curry today. We're going to have a bunch of spices going in. I'm going to debone some chicken. We're going to use some tomato. We're going to use some bird's eye chilies. We have a bunch of spices, and it's going to be lovely. Also, hello to Dakota. Welcome on in. It's lovely to have you. So this I'm going to cool down a little bit, and then I'm going to transfer it into a more suitable container. Hi. We're going to take that. We're going to let it cool down, and then I'm going to transfer it to a container that I can then just pop in the fridge because currently it is hot fat, and I don't want to pour in hot boiling oil into a Tupperware or anything. And the only thing I'm also going to do right now is I'm going to just quickly discard my coffee filter that is currently full of all of those browned up milk solids. You can see, my friends, and I think I did end up browning it a little bit too much, but you can take a look. You see all of this? All of this, these are all of the solids in the butter, my friends. You found me from TikTok? Well, welcome on in, Uber Bounty. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. So, we've made the ghee. Now, let's talk about all the other components. Let's talk about all the other steps. Here's the first thing that we have to do. We're going to have to break down and further debone our chicken, and we're gonna wanna take some of the tendons out of it as well. So for this dish today, I'm not actually gonna have any seared chicken pieces. I want gently poached chicken. I want it to just bubble away in the sauce that we're gonna make with the tomatoes, with the chilies and everything, with all the spices, and with the cream, because we're gonna do some half and half in there as well. I don't wanna sear the chicken. I wanna gently cook it today. So we're gonna take off the skin, we're gonna take out the bones, and I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. Are we ready? I'm gonna get a yes chef, Uber Bounty. You just came in from TikTok. It's customary whenever I tell you to do something in here that you're gonna say yes chef. So, I wanna hear it, I wanna see it. Ah, look at that, perfect. Everybody leading by example, that's what I'm talking about. So my friends, if you remember from yesterday, we made all of this beautiful broken down chicken, okay? And here's what we're going to need to do. I don't want any bones in the curry, and I'm going to talk to you why. So authentically, in a lot of different dishes, maybe not even just something like a curry, you would have bones, you'd have big chunks of bone in a lot of the food that you would eat. Really good example of this, let's say like a Chinese roast chicken. They take it with like a big cleaver and they hack it up, and you get a bunch of the little fragments of the bone from the legs and the breastplate. I don't like doing that. I want to clean this up in a way that when you eat the curry, you don't have to worry about any joints, you don't have to worry about any cartilage, and you don't have to worry about any bone. I just want to get a very nice, clean, meat-tasting product. Yesterday, we broke this chicken down. We have two chicken tendies, in fact. We have a couple of legs, and we have the two breasts. Okay? We used all of the other bones and the wings to be able to make a beautiful stock for yesterday's dish, and now we have the meat byproduct. So let's begin, and I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do for this today. The most complicated step is going to be breaking down the legs. Where are the chicken nuggies, asks Duolingo? It's a good question. My bad, I guess I forgot to make the chicken nuggies for you today. So, we got to break down the legs first. We have both the thigh and the drumstick attached. I'm going to show you how to break this down. First of all, whenever you're breaking down chicken, you will always want to have a nice supply of paper towels on hand, because guess what? Things are going to get wet. I miss her so bad. Things are going to get wet. You want to have some paper towels on hand just in case right next to you. Okay? And you're going to want to just set those aside. Welcome on in, Crimson King. Oh, wait. Oh, it's okay. So, we want to take the bone out of the thigh. We want to take the skin off of the leg as well. What I did was beforehand, 6 hours in advance, I heavily seasoned this with salt. I did what is called a dry brine. When you salt your meats in advance, especially a chicken, what it does is not only does the salt penetrate, but it increases its moisture retention. You get a much juicier chicken breast that way. You get a much juicier chicken leg that way. We heavily salted it, heavily, and we let it sit for about 6 hours. You can do this up to 24 hours in advance. You don't want to go too much more past that. You can do this as early as 30 minutes in advance. Anywhere between 30 minutes to 24 hours, you get a beautiful dry brine, you get beautiful juicy chicken. It will change the way that you do chicken. Okay, so my friends, take a look. You see this fat line? You see this fat line right here? You're just gonna take your knife, nice sharp knife, and you're gonna go down. Oh, actually I should have peeled this back. The fat line's over here. You're gonna just go down, and guess what? You've now split up the drum from the thigh in one easy, super easy motion. You're gonna take your leg, you're gonna do the same exact thing. You're gonna take the skin, you're gonna peel it back. Look at this fat line. Look at it, right here, my friends. Do you see it? Do you see this? This line, this super subtle line. This is the only thing that you wanna follow. Nice and easy, all the way down, and we separate the leg from the thigh. It's so easy. You don't have to look for the joint, you don't have to look at the way that it bends, you don't have to do any of that whatsoever, my friends. I promise you it's just that simple. Why is my cutting blade so shaky? Oh, it's because I had something hot on the table, that's right. Okay. Also, Karate Kuba. Whoa, 36 months? Karate Kuba has been here since the beginning. Karate Kuba has been here since the Smash streams. Karate Kuba, it's lovely to have you. Thank you so much for the support for all these years. Welcome on in. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. So my friends, guess what? We have a thigh. I'm going to show you exactly how to take the bone off of this thing. First thing we're going to do, it's a little slimy. It's a little wet. We don't want that. We're going to take it, we're going to pat it dry, we're going to make our lives a little bit easier. Okay? Once it's slippery and wet, you're not going to be able to get a good grip on anything. Next, you're going to make an incision on either side of the thigh bone that is. And all we're doing is we're just scraping the meat off the sides. The thigh is super easy because there's only one bone that you really have to worry about getting rid of. Okay? We're just making an incision on either side of the bone, and we're basically just going around it, my friends. Super, super easy, super simple, and you want to get as close to the bone as possible, basically scraping up against it, because that tells you that you have saved as much of the meat as possible. You want to take off the cartilage, right? And we're just using the tip of a knife. I'm using a petty knife. A petty knife, you can use a boning knife. I really would not recommend this with a chef's knife because it gets very clunky. You can even use a paring knife. It's very important for something like this to have tools that are suited for the job. And now we're just scraping the meat off. And guess what? Look at it. We have now detached the thigh bone from the rest of the thigh. We're scraping all the meat off. And this, my friends, is a very important skill to learn, and I'm going to tell you why. Usually in supermarkets, you can only get bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs, or you can only get boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Instead of buying a pack of boneless, skinless chicken thighs, this allows you to have a skin-on chicken thigh without a bone. Supermarkets almost never sell skin-on, boneless chicken thighs. We don't need the skin food today. We could have theoretically just used boneless, skinless chicken thighs, but I like working with a whole chicken, and I'm showing you all how to break it down. Next step. You see these white bits? You see these little white parts? These are all little bits of cartilage, connective tissue. You can just basically feel around with your finger for anything that's a little too hard. And that's not going to be good meat. That's not going to be good eating. And we're also going to take the skin off as well. Okay? So you see this? We can feel this right here. That's the rest of the joint, my friends. That's the rest of the joint. Also, Evil, I'm glad to hear it. Okay? We're just going to go in here. And we're going to just take all of this off. All of it off. Because this is just tough and it's chewy and it's not going to provide anything. And if you'd really like, you can make stock out of this. I'm not building up another supply of stock bones right now, so I'm actually just going to throw that out. Okay? And we're going to have to do this with the chicken thigh, and I'm also going to show you how to do the chicken leg. I'm a little bit new to actually, I'm putting away the paper towel. I'm a little new to doing it with the chicken leg. I've only really deboned thighs, so it's going to be a little bit of a learning experience for me, so I hope you all bear with me. So we're cleaning it up. We're making sure we're getting a very nice, tender piece of chicken thigh. Anything that feels hard, cut it out. Okay? A little bottom surgery, if you will. Sorry. Okay. Now, to pull the skin off, it's a very easy maneuver. You just have to rip it off. The skin naturally detaches. It just wants to come off. We don't want the skin for this because we're only going to be poaching the chicken thigh. And if we were to poach the skin would just get kind of gummy. Okay? Does everybody understand? Nobody is saying yes, chef, anymore without me telling you guys to. You guys got to step it up. We're just going to trim off any excess pockets of fat. Having a little bit is okay. Perfect. There we go. And then later on, we're going to cut this up into pieces. Right now, we're just going to set this aside. And we're going to move on to the other chicken thigh. Same exact idea, my friends. Make a little incision. Going down the chicken thigh. Perfect. We're just going to go on either side of the bone here, basically scraping the meat. We're scraping up the bone, excuse me. As close to it as possible, making sure we don't waste anything. We're going to just keep on exposing the bone until it just starts peeking out. And then once it starts peeking out, we can start getting a knife on out of there. This one's a little bit messier for me right now. I'm not entirely sure why. I don't think I actually got enough of this sliced. Again, I'm just using the tip of my knife for maximum maneuverability. Does anybody have any questions about this process so far? It is really easy as long as you have a sharp knife. I promise you, I'm not a very talented butcher by any means here, but this is something that I think every home cook should learn how to do so that this is within your skill set. Okay? If you learn how to do this, you don't have to just go to the store and be like, oh, they don't have boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I guess I can't make chicken thighs for dinner. Why do you make such tiny incisions into the meat? Because I don't want to make a big clunky motion. I'm following the natural curvature of the bone. Okay? And if we made big old incisions, we won't be able to do that as efficiently. Okay. We're just trimming it up once again. We're feeling for any hard pieces of the joint that get left over. Right, like over here. We got a big old joint, my friends. I am touching my hair, that's right. I am accidentally touching my hair. It's such a bad habit. Thank you for the reminder. Okay. So you see we have like a little bit of like this like super, super tough connective tissue in here. We can just get in there and just kind of cut it all out. Perfect. And again, if there's a little bit left over, it's okay. We just want to get rid of any pieces of the joint itself. How did I get started off with wanting to cook? Uber Bounty. I grew up. I had an obsession, a little special interest of cooking my whole life. And I got sick and tired of eating home food, right? I grew up Russian. I ate nothing but Russian food. And I was like, man, I want other things now. And so I taught myself how to cook out of spite, essentially. And then later in life, you know, I've grown a really huge appreciation of Russian food again. But as a kid, I was just sick of it. I was sick of котлеты, тефтели, all of that. I wanted to just eat other things. Okay. So my friends, we now have 2 beautifully deboned chicken thighs. Spite is a good motivator. In fact, I would argue it's the best one. Now, this is a process, everybody, I'm going to need you all to bear with me. This is not a process I am nearly as comfortable with. I do not typically debone chicken legs. I've done chicken thighs. I want to really, really try doing the chicken leg. And I guess it's going to be the same idea. I watched a couple of videos on this. I am quite new to this. Okay? So on one side of the bone is my understanding. We're just going to make the same exact incision that we do on the thigh. Right? I'm experimenting a little bit today. This is a little bit new for me. We're just trying to expose the bone. We're exposing the bone. Right? Take a look. That's the bone now that's exposed. Okay, and now I'm just going to try to cut all the way to the under end of this, just so I can open up like that little flap of skin. Ooh, I should not have been cutting towards myself. That's a little bit on me. And again, we're just using a knife. We're making a bunch of little flicks here. We really, really got to expose the bone on this other side. Take a look. Opening up the leg. Opening it up. I'm going to cut off this little bit of it. Right here. Off it goes. Yeah, everybody in chat is misbehaving at the moment. Everybody's getting a little bit excited. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything at all. Everybody, this is fine. Let's be normal about this. Okay, this is fine. We're exposing the bone, my friends. We're getting it out of here. It's just a joke, chef? No, it's okay. It's fine. Trust me, it's going through my head too. Okay. Oh, that was a little too close to the meat. And now, let's see, can we officially scrape all of this meat off? Is that going to be possible? Oh my God, I did it. Was it really just that easy? Is that all it takes? Whoa, look at this chicken leg. Huh. And then, of course, you have some of these tendons here that we're going to have to try to figure out how we're going to pull out. But wow. Okay, I was actually a little surprised about how easy that was. I've never done this before. Now, I am curious about something. Am I just going to be able to pull the tendons out? That is something else I wanted to test. So you guys know like those like kind of like sticks inside of the chicken leg? These bad boys, they get super, super firm when you cook them, right? And they're really, really unpleasant to eat. And so I wanted to see, is it going to be possible if I go ahead, I just grab it like this, get a nice good grip on it. Can I just pull these tendons out? I can. Ooh. I'm so happy to see all the new people. Where do you all come from? Anybody else who is new? Is there anybody who's new here? Welcome on in. I'm happy to have all of you. If you have any questions whatsoever, I'm here to help you. My friends, that was a lot easier than I had anticipated it being. You new? Well, welcome in. I'm here to help all of you to cook at home. I want to teach people how to do home food. And I think something like this is very, very important, especially if you're doing what I do, which is doing nothing but buying whole chickens. I buy nothing but whole chickens, and thus to get the product that I want. Came from Twitter. Well, welcome in. I'm happy to have you. Okay, so I'm not able to get a good grip. I've seen people use kitchen tweezers for something like this. I have a feeling what's happening is my paper towel got a little bit too slimy at this point, and I'm not able to get as good of a grip as I used to before. But you see these tendons, you see these bad boys right here, these little tendrils. Kind of gross, isn't it? This is what makes your chicken legs, your turkey legs, anything super, super tough. It's really, really unpleasant business. They cook up, they get super firm, they become essentially inedible. Hello, Moonha. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. But yeah, okay, I think I'm just going to need to grab another paper towel for the moment. I'm going to grab another grip on it like so, and I'm going to hold it down with my knife, try to scrape the meat off as I do it, and hopefully we'll be able to pull that out. Actually, first, let's get the skin off. We're not going to need the skin for this anyways. Yes, it does feel significantly different, wifey. Yeah. For anybody that's like averse to touching raw meat, of course, you can use what I'm doing here, which is nitrile gloves. I do this mostly so I don't have to wash my hands after. And also, by the way, everybody, say congratulations to Dosky and Moonha. They have volunteered to become mods for the stream. They've been here for a while. They're some of the best, chatters I could have ever hoped to ask for. In the future, I'm going to need some more mods, of course, but in the meantime, they're doing great. Whoa. Guys, guess what? We just got rid of most of the tendons on these bad boys. We can, of course, leave a few of them. Yeah, they volunteered. They're great. I'm very, very happy to have them on board. Okay, that is now a deboned chicken leg. That is all the meat off of it, which actually was a lot easier than I thought it would be. I'm very, very impressed by this. I thought it was actually going to be a lot more difficult, and if it was going to be more difficult, then I might not have actually done this again. But this has proven to me, guys, this is my first time deboning a chicken leg properly. I tried it before without really knowing what I was doing. Are they sous chefs now? That's right. Well, actually, you get the sous chef title if you pay $9 and join my secret private Discord on my Patreon, hint, hint. But yes. No, you're all my little sous chefs. You're actually all my little sous chefs. They're my, no, not chef de cuisine. I need to go look up like a French restaurant hierarchy. Okay, I gotta get back to this. So, same exact idea. We're in this bone. We're gonna go ahead and make an incision on this side, and we're just following the bone all the way to the end of the chicken, all the way to the end of the leg. We're exposing the bone. We're cutting through the skin. I already call you guys my little sous chef, so I need something else. Okay. Ooh, perfect. Look at that. Look at the whole thing. Opened up yet again, my friends. And now, same exact idea. We're just going down on either side of the leg here. Just scraping up all the meat from it. Opening the whole thing up. And off, all of it comes. Just let your knife glide against the bone. That's all you've really got to do here. Okay? It's not rocket science. It's a fairly simple idea. Because look, now that it comes off, we're able to just scrape all of the meat off of it. And ooh, look how easily this one pops out. Look how easily this one pops out, my friends. Super, super simple, right? And those are all the tendons still attached to it that we're not going to be able to pull out successfully at the moment, but we'll just have to cut it off as it is and come back to it. Okay, let's go ahead and pull off the skin. Again, guys, I'm sorry about how long this process is taking. I'm a little bit new to the legs. The thighs I've been doing for quite some time. Legs are a little bit new for me. So I appreciate all of you sticking with me for this process. And again, this is all in pursuit of having a completely boneless curry. I cannot stand food, especially food that's covered in a sauce that has bones in it, because you try to take a big bite and you can't. It's super, super annoying. I think food, first and foremost, should be really, really functional. I only keep the chicken like bones if it's very clearly easy to pick out. Okay? I think food, first and foremost, in something like a soup, in something like a stew, in something like a curry. I really firmly believe bones have no place in something like this. And even though it's not necessarily traditional to do it that way, I want to innovate. I want to just make food better. I'm just looking to optimize it, and this feels like a very reasonable optimization. Also, it did not keep us. Daramgar came from World of Warcraft. It was my randomly generated username for World of Warcraft when I was about 8 years old. I was playing a Blood Elf Death Knight. I was playing Cataclysm. Daramgar was my first World of Warcraft character. And ever since then, you want to know a crazy story? So, Daramgar became my gamer tag for everything after that. When I started going to Smash tournaments when I was about 15 or 16 years old, that was the first time anybody in person or out loud called me Dara. That was the first time anybody has ever called me Dara out loud before. Because nobody knew how to pronounce Daramgar, everybody would just call me Dara instead. And then I was like, 15, 16 years old, and I was like, oh fuck, that feels really nice. And then it just became my name. I made my gamer tag into my name. People shortened it naturally from Daramgar into Dara. They called me it in person, and it felt super nice not having them know my dead name, and them just calling me Dara instead. So that's the story. That's the story of why I am named the way I am. It's a very fun story, isn't it? But yeah, up until that point, nobody ever called me Dara before, right? People would only call me Daramgar, but nobody called me Dara. Up until people were like, actually, I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm going to shorten it. And I was like, psych, it's my name now. I love World of Warcraft. I'm not touching my face. Am I touching my face? I didn't notice if I was touching my face in this process. Okay, guess what, my friends? We've gotten rid of all the tendons. All of it. All the tendies. Except we have a little bit of the joint left. Look at this. A little bit of the joint is left right here. We're just going to slice that off. Get it out of here. Ooh, I actually didn't get all of it. Slice it off. We have no place for the joint. And that's like a little bit of connective tissue. You can clean it up if you really want to. You don't have to. Mostly we just want to get the tendons and joints out. Okay, my friends, let's take a look at what we just accomplished. This was originally 2 chicken legs that we've broken down to a drumstick and a thigh, and we have completely deboned it. This is pure chicken schmeat right here. This is where you would typically say, good job, chef. Now, on my chicken breasts, I'm just peeling off that skin. We don't want that skin. But yeah, no, the World of Warcraft name generator just goes crazy. It's so good for no reason. Okay, we're just peeling off the skin. It's a chicken breast. It's fairly simple. Only thing is I just have a little bit of fat here that is unwanted. I'm just cleaning it up a little bit. But mostly this is fine. Do this to you? Yeah, put you on a cutting board and take the skin off. That's morbid. So again, peeling off the skin, super, super easy process. You just rip it off, take a look at it. Is there anything that we want to take off? I'm going to take off this little bit of fat that we have right here. Don't worry about this little guy right here, that little bit of connective tissue in the chicken breast itself. I don't really care about it. And now, my friends, the last step. This is how we go from a chicken tender into a chicken super tender. Here's all we got to do. We grab a fork, we pull it, we can pull out the entirety of that chicken tender tendon. Chicken tender tendon. And that is now just a full, pure piece of meat. Nice and easy. Next one. Just make sure we're getting under the meat this time when we pull it out. And you can use a towel to get a good grip. Yeah, this trick I like picked up a little bit more recently to be able to do this. You can also just do this with a knife. What you do need though, above all else, is to get a good grip. Get a grip. Get a grip. In fact, I'm just gonna peel off my gloves. I'm gonna put on some fresh ones, get some more paper towels. So what I really want, which I should actually probably put on my throw and wish list, should be some kitchen tweezers. Because kitchen tweezers are just gonna do a much better job than any old towel would. Okay. I'm just gonna put on some fresh gloves. Remember, because of the fact I kept my gloves on, I don't really have to wash them after, which is the beauty of doing it this way. Makes my life a lot easier. This is all a little bit new for me, so I'm glad that we can experiment together. We're doing 2 new things today. I've never deboned a chicken leg, and I've never, ever made ghee before. And I'm actually pretty impressed with my ability so far to do both. That's, guys, I'm showing you. You don't need to have perfect technique. Just go slowly. Go slowly and know what you're doing and why you're doing it. We're using this towel purely for the leverage and the grip, but what I really, really need in the future is just gonna be some kitchen tweezers. That's right. You're goated? Thank you. Guys, you can pull off new things successfully for the first time around. It doesn't, not everything in a kitchen especially, not everything creatively has to always be trial and error. Not everything has to be trial and error. You just have to get somebody that can tell you a little bit about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And this is all just information I've absorbed over a very long time of cooking. And guess what? We've pulled out the tendon. Or the tendon, excuse me. Guess what? All of this, look at this, look at this. Are you serious? Do you know what we have here? We have a pile of schmeat. This is a pile of schmeat and a half, my friends. Look at this. These are my beautiful chicken legs that have been deboned. That's my other chicken, oh, this is my chicken thigh. This is my chicken thigh. This is my chicken leg. My big, beautiful breasts, okay? Sorry, my tendons. And now we're just gonna cut all of this to size. Right, because now let's think about the kinds of chunks that we want in the curry itself, my friends. Let's think about the chunks. And we want to make sure that we keep the breasts and the tendons separate. Or the breasts and the tendons separate from the thighs and the legs. The thighs and the legs are dark meat. They're going to take a little bit longer to cook and they can stand up to longer cooking. The breasts and the tendons we're actually going to add in later into the process because it's a little bit of a balancing act. Not every single part of the chicken cooks equally. So here's what we're going to do. This is the leg. It's a fairly thin scrap of meat here. Ooh, is that another tendon that I missed? It's okay, it's fine. I'm not gonna overthink this. I think I want pieces that are about yay big. The bigger you cut it, the longer it's gonna take to cook. The smaller you cut it, the quicker. I want substantial pieces, something like this. You can cut it as big or as small as you would like. Okay. Next one. This is the thigh. Remember, the thighs and the legs are gonna cook at the same time. We're gonna cut them the same. So let's take a little reference. This is a reference. Just like that. And these we're going to cut a little bit thinner because this is where the meat starts getting thicker. This we might even just cut in half. These are the kinds of chunks I'm going for today's curry. Okay? Once again, back to the leg. We're going to do this in 3 separate pieces. Once again, back to the thigh. We're going to cut this. Then we're just going to cut this into a total of 3 pieces. And again, my friends, for something like this, the size really, really is important because you want to make sure that everything is cooking super evenly, okay? Especially when it comes to the breasts. So here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to cut this little tip off right here. This really, really thin part of it. Then we're going to cut it in half like so. Right, because that was the thinnest part of it, we're basically just equalizing the size of the whole thing. And then we cut it into nice little chunks. And this is going to get added at the end. This is going to get added at the end. The chicken breast, we don't really want to cook it past 155 internal. The chicken thighs and legs, they can basically cook indefinitely. Where is my other chicken tendon? Did I already cut it up? I seem to have lost it. Okay, let's do the other tendon. Basically same size as your chicken breast pieces. Now let's do this other breast. We're gonna cut the pointy tip off. We're gonna come back here. We're gonna slice this bad boy in half. And again, nice sharp knife, my friends. Nice sharp knife. 1, 2. You want to keep these chunks as evenly sized as possible. And guess what? We've done it. We've officially broken down. Oh, I know what happened. I accidentally put my other chicken tender, I keep mixing the two of them up, into my waste bowl. Okay, it's done. The deed has been done, my friends. We've done it all. Okay, I'm gonna take a second to clean off my station and then we'll do a little bit of a recap. Is everybody following along so far? Does everybody understand what we're up to? I'm gonna just go back to here, go back to my front camera, so you guys can just look at me directly. Hi, I missed you so much. It's good to see you again. Okay? I'm just gonna go ahead and throw some stuff into the dishwasher really quickly while I do have a second to get it done. Remember, I'm cooking at home. This is a one-man show, one-it show, whatever I am. And thus, at home, you gotta clean as you go. You have passive time, you have downtime. It's time to get things done, my friends. Okay. So really quickly, I'm just gonna wipe off my station. I'm gonna throw some things into my dishwasher. Anything that's contaminated, I'm gonna have to wash off that knife in just a second as well. It's a one Gango show. Well, rather, I guess I'm like an Absol. I'm an Absol in his early work. That's what not really a Gango as much as I love Gango. Right? It's not who I am on the inside. Okay. Just gonna take a second. I'm gonna wash off this knife because I'm gonna use it for some other stuff later on. Just getting it done, my friends. Just want to get it done and out of the way now and don't have to worry about it later on. So please bear with me and then we'll do a little bit of a recap for all of you at home. Okay, I've cleaned off my knife. Thank you everybody for your patience while I got that done. Best evolution. Oh, now that's a good question. Hold on. Before we even talk about the food, we gotta talk about what the best evolution is. So, here's my list of EVs that I even like to begin with. Or rather, the ones I don't like. I don't like Jolteon, and I don't like Flareon. I want nothing to do with them whatsoever. Next, I like Leafeon. I think Leafeon is a little uninspired. The idea with Leafeon is like, oh, this is a leaf Eevee. So we're gonna put leaves on. It's not particularly interesting to me. So what are we left with? We're left with Umbreon, we're left with Espeon, we're left with Vaporeon, okay? We're left with Sylveon. What else am I missing here? Sylveon, Umbreon, Espeon, Glaceon. Missing Glaceon. So my favorite is probably Glaceon, right off the bat. I love Glaceon. Glaceon is so cute. Glaceon has these little bangs and everything, and I'm like, that's adorable. It's the best thing. You can't really ask for anything else. I also really love Vaporeon because I love Vaporeon's inspiration. Vaporeon of that original line of Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon is so cool. They broke the format. They got him a big old tail. He's got fins. He's got a mermaid tail. He's the coolest. I love Vaporeon for that reason. Sylveon has been memed to death for me, that they kind of killed Sylveon for me. And I love Umbreon and Espeon, and I'm attracted to both of them. Okay, great. Everybody, let's talk about the chicken. Let's do a little bit of a recap session. So, my friends, we've accomplished two things today thus far. We've accomplished two things today. We've deboned a bunch of chicken. I had the leftover breast, the leftover tenders, the leftover legs, and the leftover thighs. And I taught you just now how to break all of this down. How to get rid of the bone, how to get rid of all of the extra tendons. Okay? And as a result, all of this is gonna go into the curry today. Free of bones, free of tendons. It's gonna be a pleasant, simple, delicious, tender eating experience for today. And that's why I did it, because I hate biting into bones and I hate the tendons on a chicken leg. I can't stand it. I'm gonna take a little sip of water. I'm gonna take a little sip of water. So this, I'm gonna go ahead and set behind me, because we're not gonna need that for a little while. In addition, we made a big, beautiful batch of ghee. We took a bunch of butter, we boiled it down, we evaporated the liquid, slightly browned the solids, and strained it out through a coffee filter. And now, the only thing left I'm gonna do for it is I'm just going to transfer it to a separate container, something that's suitable for it, just so that I can throw it into my fridge and forget about it until I'm ready to use it again later today. Okay? Just finding what would be a good container. This should do nicely. Just pour it inside. Look at this beautiful ghee. It's nutty, it's delicious, it's gonna cook up beautifully whenever we're ready to use it. Take it and just pour it on in, my friends. And you can smell it. And you know what it smells like? It smells like apple pie to me, because I associate that super, super like browned, buttery smell in apple pie. That's what this is like for me. It's really, really special stuff. Oh, guys, that smells so rich. It smells sweet because of the pastry association that it has for me. It's really, really beautiful stuff. You can make anything that you want in it. Now, I do think I slightly overcooked mine, so I'm not gonna be able to do like super high temperature cooking or anything. Right, I see like some of the milk solids got like a little bit too dark, but that is delicious. You can use this in your cookies. Guys, use this in your cookies. Use this in your cookies. Make brown even further. Get a browned butter. Use this in your cookies. You're going to get so much more flavor out of it this way. You're going to get that toastedness. You're going to get that nuttiness. It's going to be something special. This is how you start elevating your cooking, when you start doing these little bits of intentional technique. Okay, that is now a bunch of pure butter fat. Toasted, golden, delicious. I'm just going to seal it up. I'm going to throw this into the fridge. We've completed 2 of the components. We've cut up the chicken and we've done the ghee. And now, my friends, you know what time it is? We gotta talk about some spices. That's what time it is. So, next cutting board is ready to go. Where is my knife, my knife? There it is. Excellent. So let's start talking about spices, my friends. People have a misconception with Indian cooking. There's a couple of things going on here. Especially the westernization of Indian food has resulted in so much stuff being lost or being misunderstood. There are so many beautiful spices in Indian cooking. People make a handful of misconceptions. Number 1, people think that everything is spicy on a heat level. People think that all Indian food is full of chilies. That's not necessarily true. I'm adding chilies to mine because I wanted it to be spicy. But plenty of Indian food is not spicy in the heat sense. It just has a lot of different spices. Also, welcome on in, Puppet. Thank you very much. That's very sweet of you. Welcome on in, Puppet. And also welcome on in, OPL, not sure how to say that. So, Indian cooking is not necessarily spicy in a heat way. Oh, and call me wifey. The difference between ghee and a clarified butter is that a clarified butter does not have brown milk solids, and ghee has toasted milk solids. Right? The clarified butter, you just scoop them off the top. But back to this. What we do have is a lot of different spices. But Indian cooking is not always about taking a thing of garam masala. It's not always about taking a million different spices. It's actually a lot of intentional omission. You have a lot of spices that are used in every single dish, and then you have spices that sort of set something apart and make something pretty distinct. And I'm going to talk to you and show you some of these spices right now. And we're not starting with shitty pre-ground spices. We're not using some curry spice powder blend that has God knows what in it. There are some spice blends that are used in Indian cooking, like garam masala, but that's besides the point. So, here's what's gonna happen. Number 1, my favorite spice, my personal favorite, whole cumin seeds. We're gonna toast this, and we're going to grind this up ourselves. In fact, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make a beautiful plate. And yes, I do have a mortar and pestle. We're gonna first toast it, and then we're gonna grind it. I'm gonna make a plate of these spices for all of you today. I'm not really measuring this. I just have some very basic ratios in mind. And we're not necessarily going to use all the spice blend that we make today. And I'm not necessarily following a recipe either. I'm just thinking about all these different flavors. So cumin, kind of grassy, earthy. Grassiness, earthiness, I love it. It's one of my favorites. Next, coriander seeds, whole seeds. We're going to toast this up ourselves, my friends. We're making a beautiful plate of this, just so all of you can see it. I'd like roughly a 1-to-1 ratio volumetrically of cumin seeds to coriander seeds. This is a lot more herbaceous and a lot more grassy. It's not particularly earthy though. Okay? And it's kind of difficult for me to explain like all of the different little compounds and the way that they all smell, but that's very generally and roughly what we're doing. Okay. Next. These are mustard seeds. We're going to do in total about 1 big teaspoon of these. Now, you would typically see a lot of black mustard seeds in Indian cooking, not as much as yellow mustard seeds. Yellow mustard seeds, they just tend to be a little bit less potent. They tend to be less potent. So you want to just use a little bit more. Okay, that's how much we're using. We're using about a teaspoon, about half as much of the coriander seeds and the cumin. And now we're going to also get some black peppercorns in here. So just plain old black pepper, but we're going to just get the big old peppercorns and we're going to grind it up ourselves. I like this to be the least. I like this to be the smallest component. I don't like a lot of black peppercorns. They can easily become overpowering. And I don't have to really explain to you the taste of black pepper, right? I feel like that's something you already all know. And now we have some stuff that's already pre-ground. Some of this stuff is pre-ground intentionally. Some of this stuff is pre-ground just because that is the only thing I actually technically had available to me. And we're going to talk about that right now. So first up, we have some fenugreek. This is a fairly essential spice to have in your cabinet that I feel like I don't really see that often in Western supermarkets. Also, Dirt McNasty, thank you for the reminder to hydrate. Is my voice getting raspy? Is that what's going on here? So did I take all the tape off? I should have. Hopefully I don't open this thing and it just puffs up all over the place. Oh, just my glass is tinted that way. Okay, I'm trying my best to open up this thing of fenugreek, and I just have a feeling that if I open this, it is just gonna explode. Huh, it doesn't have any tape on it, and yet it's so difficult to open this thing. I got these from like a little spice shop in New York, and yeah, they have a very nice variety of things. And I like the fact that they do metal containers. Ooh, okay. This stuff is really, really special. I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain it. There's almost an alluminous to it. It kind of reminds me of onion powder. But the smell is actually kind of unexplainable. So we're going to only have half a teaspoon of this stuff. Right? We don't need too much, a little bit more. Okay? It's pretty strong. It's great. I love it. This, you see all over the place, and yet not a lot of people know about it. Next, I would ideally have whole cloves. I do not, unfortunately. I'm only going to use a little bit. Clove can easily become super overpowering. We're using a little bit of ground clove. A little bit. I don't like too much clove at all. Then, my friends, we have some turmeric. This is pre-ground turmeric. It's fairly weak compared to fresh turmeric. So we're going to use in total about yay much, about a whole teaspoon's worth. And then we're going to adjust some things if we feel like it's important. And then lastly, we're going to have 1 black cardamom pod, which is actually not all that different from clove, but I feel like black cardamom has a very, very apparent citrusiness to it. It smells zesty, it smells citrusy. That's my immediate association with black cardamom. And so, my friends, this is the beginning of something very, very special. Look at all of these spices. Look at all of these spices. Everything is going in today. We have the cumin seeds, the coriander seeds, the yellow mustard seeds, the black peppercorns, the turmeric, the fenugreek, the clove, and the black cardamom. The pre-ground stuff, ideally you would have fenugreek leaves. Ideally you would have whole cloves, and the turmeric can be ground. But all of this is gonna get toasted, it's gonna get ground up. The black cardamom we're gonna put in and then we're gonna take it out later. Because that's not really one that you wanna grind up too much. So, here's what's gonna happen. This I'm gonna set aside a little bit. This is what we're going to toast down. And now we're going to go ahead and throw that into a nice little pan. Just like so. Look at this. Look at this beautiful collection of spices, my friends. You can't beat it. You just can't beat it. Okay. And I'm going to show you exactly how to toast the spices. So, you might be asking me, Daramgar, why are we toasting the spices before we grind it down? It's to make it a little bit warmer. It changes the flavor a little bit. You don't have to do this. It's still going to get fried anyways. I just like doing the spices this way. So, I'm going to put it on the heat. We're going to do a nice medium heat or so. We're going to head to the stove. And now, my friends, also welcome on in. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. All we're going to do is we're going to keep this whole thing moving. We're going to keep it rotating. We're going to keep it moving. And we're going to wait until we see some amount of smoke. Toasting it is not necessarily, especially because we're going to fry it after. But it's just a nice touch. I feel like it does something and it's fun to do. Does anybody have any questions so far? Does anybody have anything they want to say to me? If you have a good question, I'm going to display it on stream. I incentivize deep questions that can provoke a lot of conversation. So, you want to make sure you're keeping this constantly moving so that it doesn't burn on one side, okay? We're not frying this in oil. It's not like it's evenly conducting the heat or anything. Thus, it needs this constant agitation. It needs this constant movement. What temperature is it, and explain it. This is just a medium heat. It doesn't really matter the temperature you use as long as you're constantly rotating it. Okay. So, this is a very good question. This is one I definitely want to answer. So, Dolingo has my family has asked me, what are the essential spices that you keep in your kitchen? And this is a great question. It depends on the cuisine that you like to cook. I cook all over. It depends on your kitchen. It depends on the ecosystem that you're building. Your home kitchen is a little teeny tiny ecosystem. Okay? I keep in my pantry all the time. I never have a shortage of cumin seeds. I never have a shortage of coriander seeds. I have onion powder. I have garlic powder in case I just want to do something fun. I keep sazon. I keep adobo. I keep Tony's. Those are my only spice blends. And then after that, it just actually depends what you make. But for me, cumin and coriander seeds are used in so many different cuisines. It's so universal to me that I feel okay with having it no matter what. Also, Dick McNasty, I would be a ghost type gym leader. And so we're looking for very slight smoke. Right? Nothing crazy. Just very slight wisps of smoke, my friends. We're almost done. Perfect. That's what I'm looking for, right? You probably can't see it on camera, but it was slightly smoking. And you can really, really smell it now, right? It smells really, really coming out of it. Let's go back to the overhead camera. Let's go ahead and get a beautiful mortar and pestle ready to go. And as always, my friends, whole spices, they make stuff so much better. They're so much more delicious. They have so much more intensity. When you grind up a spice and you let it sit, it loses all of its flavor over time because it is in its most stable form like this. Look at this. Beautiful. Take it. First, we're going to crush it all up. Look at all of these spices. We're making a spice blend today. Guys, I'm having fun today. This is a good stream. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm doing some new stuff. I've not really made a curry like this before. I've never made ghee before. I've never deboned a chicken leg. I'm learning a little bit as I'm going. This is the ideal stream for New Year's. New beginnings for a little guy like me. Also, I know I haven't exactly been doing the cooking streams for a year, but I feel like we've come a very long way. We've only begun doing these in the summer. We've only begun doing these in July. And I'm just very grateful to have all of you. You all make me very happy. How do I measure out whole spices? Big Zach, I actually don't know. I don't actually have my whole spice to ground spice conversion ratio. Because here's my idea. Also, thank you so much to Scorpio for the sub. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. So this is a very good question. I think I learned this in earth science when I was in 10th grade. Had an earth science class as part of my New York education. And so what I learned was this. Let's say you had a completely homogeneous mixture of a bunch of big seeds, or like big sediments, and you had very, very tiny sediments. Theoretically, they would all occupy the same weight of each, would occupy the same amount of volume. Only mixed sediment would start to compact and become a lot more dense as things would occupy the little space in between. It depends on how regular something is. My intuition, my hunch, is that by grinding these down, because these are not a perfectly regular shape, they will lose a good amount of volume. They will become a lot more compact. That is my guess. Also, Fabio, welcome on in. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. Thank you so much for the sub. And now guess what? We have a hype train. I forgot that my hype train text is so sad. Oh. Guys, we've had a fantastic year of streaming so far. I really appreciate every single one of you. Okay, so we're just crushing up all the big seeds. We're making sure to flatten them. And then, my friends, we begin the great rotation as we go from seeds into a powder. You're turning 41 in a month. Zach, I'm turning 38 next week. It does make me glad, by the way, that I feel like I've curated an audience of all ages. Also, thank you so much to Uber Bounty for the sub. Thank you, Fabio. Thank you, thank you. No, I'm 21. I'm not 38. I'm not 38. But it does make me very, very happy that I do have such a huge amount of people here. I am 6 feet tall, though. Sorry, it's my favorite thing to do. I just lie about my age and people are like, huh, I guess that makes sense. Whenever somebody has estrogen in them, they just take them as any age they say they are. It's really funny. Oh, I gotta check a notification really quickly. Just something important might have come up. Also, oh my God, Dosky, thank you so much for the 10 gifted subs. That was very sweet of you. Whoa. Thank you, thank you. Guys, you guys are so sweet today. The one time I was checking my phone, unbelievable. Look at this powder. Look at this beautiful powder that we're getting, huh? Look at all of this. That's right. Dosky, thank you so much for coming through today. I really, really appreciate you. Look, we're just trying to get rid of any and all lumps, any and all big clumps. And I don't think we're going to use nearly all of these spices for today. I think I'm just going to make this blend and then try to do something with it sometime soon. But yes, generally you want to try to preserve these ratios. Would adding a little bit of kosher salt help to grind it fine? Honestly, Big Zach, I think a lot of other things in here are abrasive enough that it just would be redundant. Ideally, you'd also use a little electronic spice grinder or something. Okay. We're getting in there. We're grinding it all down, my friends. We're getting it done. It's a lot of volume. It's going to take a little bit of time. Just got to stick with it. Got to be nice and patient. Grinding it up. It smells beautiful, my friends. Right? You're getting the warmth. You're getting the earthiness. You're getting the mustard seeds. I mean, you're getting everything here. I still see some whole uncrushed seeds that I really want to pulverize and get down to business. Okay. Anything that's too big, we just got to flatten all of it. Anything that's still rotund. Oh. Get it all done, my friends. All of it. And these are going to be so much more intense, so much more flavorful, so much warmer than any pre-ground spice that you could possibly buy. I promise. It's night and day. It's night and day. Okay? I'm just feeling. I'm feeling for any big chunks that might be left over. Oof, my arm is getting a little tired. I'm kidding. That arm never gets tired. We're just going to keep going. We're going to keep going. Flatten everything. Grind it all down. Keep it going. How's everybody's New Year so far? You guys doing good? Anybody celebrating, or you guys like me today? Because I'm just an indoor dog today. I'm not doing anything. And that's honestly ideal. I've been so tired and sleepy. I just want to go hang out with some people online after. That's all I really want to do with my day. Just chilling. Great. Me too. If you're watching the stream, I'm just happy to have you. I'm happy that you're spending the holidays with me. Heading out for the day, Jade, thank you so much for stopping by. Okay, we're almost done. I just want to get rid of any of the super big pieces. Anything that's just too big, anything that doesn't belong. Ooh, you're doing some CSS, Rabbit? What are you doing in CSS? I recently been learning CSS myself. CSS is so fun. Although, I hope to never even think about float again. Float was the stupidest thing I've ever learned. Okay. Okay, my friends, guess what? Woof. We've officially ground down a bunch of the coriander, a bunch of the cumin, a lot of the black peppercorns, and the mustard seeds. And now, we're not adding in the cardamom pod. We're gonna add this later. The rest of the fenugreek, the turmeric, and the cloves, all of it goes in. And look at the spice powder, my friends. Look at the spice powder. Look at it go. Oh, and this smells fucking incredible. This smells incredible. Oh, well, I'm glad you're having a good time, Nickit. Oh, my friends, it smells so wonderful. It smells so earthy. It smells so warm. This is a beautiful spice powder. So easy to do. So much better than anything that you can buy pre-ground at a store. Look at this thing. Oh, everything is coming through together in harmony. Fenugreek, black pepper, cumin, coriander seeds, some clove, a couple of other things I'm sure. But at the moment, I'm happy. This is my happy place. This is where it's at, my friends. And some mustard seeds, that's right. It doesn't just look good, Zumalavo. It is good. Everybody, let's do a little bit of a recap session. We have so far accomplished 3 separate tasks at the moment in the process of making this beautiful curry for today. So, first of all, where did this curry even start from? I had 2 things that I wanted to get rid of today. I had 2 things in my fridge that I wanted to just sort of put away. First was I had a bunch of chicken legs, thighs, breasts, and tendons. We deboned all of it. We took the bones out of the legs. We took the bones out of the thighs. Okay? We took the tendon out of the tendons, and we cut everything up to size, and we separated the dark meat from the light meat. Okay? And this way, we're going to get beautiful tender chunks. Next, we have accomplished a gorgeous ghee, my friends. We've made this lovely little butter right here. We boiled it down. We've evaporated the liquid. We've browned the solids. Oh, and it smells incredible. And this is what we're going to cook everything in today. We've made that lovely ghee. I'm going to try my best not to spill it. I'm going to just keep it chilling in the fridge for a little bit. And then, my friends, we've also made this beautiful spice mixture right here. Look at this. Look at this thing. Coriander, whole coriander seeds, whole cumin seeds, whole black peppercorns, whole mustard seeds, fenugreek, turmeric, cloves, and then a cardamom pod that'll get added later on. It's full of flavor, it's full of aroma, it's not pre-ground. We toasted it and we did everything ourselves because that's the best way to do it at home. I'm telling you, whole spices, you have to keep your kitchen stocked. You just have to. It's not an option. It is not an option. I am telling you to, and you're going to listen to me. Okay. And now, my friends, I believe we can begin. Is this a garam masala? This is probably garam masala. Oh, shit. This really is just garam masala, isn't it? Oh, that's too cute. That just sounds too good. So the only thing I'm going to do for ease of transport later on, I like the fact that everybody's going, yes, chef. Oh, I've broken you all in so well. I'm going to just make sure that I have a separate little container. I'm going to spoon all of this beautiful stuff out. I'm just going to clean this out. Okay? So aromatic. I'm telling you guys, the fenugreek makes all the difference. It is the #1 spice that people sleep on when it comes to Indian cooking. Because guess what? Western supermarkets typically don't sell fenugreek. Go to a spice shop, get some online, go to an Indian grocery store, get some fenugreek. It will change your life. It is so slept on. It is so wonderful. Look at all this spice powder, huh? Amazing. What more could you ask for? I'm just gonna wipe it off, and guess what? We don't really even need to wash the mortar and pestle as long as we keep it dry. Welcome on in, Scorpio. Hope you're having an excellent day today. Fenugreek is so aromatic too. Yes, it is. It is extremely aromatic. I love it. I'm telling you, it gives everything just that little bit of oomph that you're like, oh, wait a second. That's how restaurants get their food to taste like that. It is the one that not enough people actually understand. And one that I'm actually quite new to using myself because it wasn't particularly locally available for me. And now I'm going to just take a second. I'm going to put some stuff away into my cupboard, into my cabinets. And we're going to begin with all the vegetable prep that I need to be doing for today. Okay, just gonna put these spices away, my friends. And then we will begin and I'll give you all attention. I know how much you want it. I want your attention too. I love getting your attention. So, we made the spice powder and now it's time to think about the vegetables for the curry itself and actually building the base of the curry. So here's the order of operations. We're gonna cook some onions, we're gonna cook some garlic, we're gonna cook some ginger. We're going to fry the spices in all of the ghee. Then we're going to add in some chopped tomatoes. I also have left over this right here is the sauce that we made on Friday. This was the charred peppers, the tomatoes, the cumin. All of this is already contextually within the same exact flavor palette of what we're doing today. So I'm gonna add it in, I'm gonna use it up, and we're gonna finish the whole thing with half and half. We're gonna blend it down and we're gonna cook the chicken in the sauce. I wanna gently poach the chicken today. Gently poach it. I do mean gently. I'm gonna show you all exactly how to get it done. And the rice that we'll be using is a little something called Haiga rice. Not a traditional basmati by any means, but I love using Haiga rice. Haiga is between the brown rice and white rice. They take the bran off, but they keep the germ. It has a little bit more flavor, it has a lot more nutritional value, but it still has the texture and the fluff of white rice, because I hate the texture of brown rice. This is what we'll be using for today, my friends. So, in the meantime, let's talk about what else we gotta do. We gotta chop up some onions, and we gotta begin frying. But yes, Haiga rice. You have to get on Haiga rice. I'm telling you, you are missing out 100%. I'm gonna grab my gloves yet again because I have eczema and I would like to protect my dainty little paws. We gotta slice up some onion, we gotta slice up some tomatoes. That's all we gotta do. And do the garlic and the ginger. So, let us begin. Onion. We got one big old onion. We're going to cut the head off. We're also going to cut the root off this time, and I'm going to show you why, my friends. I could have used a bigger knife for this, but that's okay. Cut it in half. And then, now that we've cut it in half, oh, it's a little bit spoiled on the inside. It's actually not as nice of an onion as you thought it would be. This part's a little spoiled right here. Oh, guys, my kitchen is already smelling fantastic at the moment. It really smells so special here. Okay, I've had to peel out quite a bit of the layer. The inside was a little bit spoiled, but now we've got a nice fresh onion. My friends, all we gotta do for the sauce, and remember, for the other sauce, well, not the actual base of the curry itself, right? Take the onion. Just slice it parallel to the grain of it. This is just gonna fry, this is gonna saute, and we're gonna blend it down after, so don't worry about getting this step actually perfect. Do not worry about it at all. Okay? So just like this, dump it in your bowl that you're gonna be transferring it over to the pan with. Then we gotta do the aromatics. So in Indian cooking, typically is sold for home consumers is garlic ginger paste. You can make it yourself. We're just going to chop up some garlic, chop up some ginger. You see garlic ginger used all the time. It is used everywhere in Indian cooking. Okay? And that's what we'll be making today in just a second. In the meantime, I have some of these lovely little chilies. I do not know how spicy these are. I have no clue how spicy these are. So I'm gonna try a little bit and I'm going to decide how much we'll use. Ready? Oh, shit, okay. It just breaks in my mouth. Yes, the answer is it's a little spicy. We're not gonna take the seeds out. For today, look, here's what we're gonna do. If we want more chilies at the end, we'll do more chilies at the end. I'm only gonna do 4 of these. I think these are bird's eye chilies. We're gonna cut the heads off. We're gonna keep all the seeds. We want all that spice. Yes, those are. In fact, I don't love super spicy chilies anyways. Okay, bird's eye Isaac reference. That's right, Dosky. Okay, these we're just going to roughly chunk up. You don't have to worry about cutting these down or anything. We're just going to add them in and we're going to blend them up and strain them out after. Okay? To me, that should be enough chili. You can use as little or as much as you would like. And if we want more, we're going to add more at the end. Right? And again, I don't know how traditional bird's eye chilies are in Indian cooking, but these are actually just what I have available to me. I just haven't had a bird's eye in a while. I believe these are Thai bird's eyes. And so take a look. These are the whole chilies that we have left over. These are the chopped up chilies, and that's a cardamom pod. And the next step, my friends, next step is going to be doing the ginger. So, actually, let's do tomatoes first. Let's do tomatoes first before we do the ginger and the garlic, because that's the messiest part of this whole operation. I need another big bowl to put all the chopped up tomatoes in, with a nice big plate. Actually, this plate will do just fine. And this is going to constitute the majority of the curry, the base of it, right? So we're going to go ahead and take it. We're going to just slice this in half so that we get nice access to the core of the tomato. Just like so. And we're going to get this core out because it gets really woody. It's very unpleasant to eat. Check the bottom. See if there's a lot there. You see that little guy down at the bottom? We're also just going to trim that off really quick. We're going to do the same to the others. And we're not doing anything crazy. We're not charring the tomatoes today or anything. We're just going to cook it down, blend it up. It's going to be awesome. I guess I can also do it like this on this side. Get rid of the core. I love tomatoes, my friends. I love them. Chef, can a tomato be so cute that you wouldn't want to eat it? I mean, I guess that's subjective. For me, no. I've eaten every tomato I've ever come across. I take a bite out of them. That tomato kind of sucks. It's not the best. So no, that's never really happened to me. I do love tomatoes to death. Okay. We're going to intentionally keep the skins on because it's going to be blended and strained anyways. The skins are going to release a bunch of pectin, which is going to really help to thicken the whole curry. Okay? So my friends, doesn't really matter the pieces. You just want to slice it up. You just want to get it to be a little bit more manageable. Whoa! Why did I just struggle with that? Did my knife get that dull that fast? I did just get them sharpened. Oh no. What's going on? Tragic. Slicing up my tomatoes. I love these things so much, but these aren't the sweetest. We're in the winter time. Like, what is this? What's going on with my knife? You gotta have a nice sharp knife with tomatoes. There's just no other way to do it. Listen, I got these professionally sharpened and it was great. I think maybe it just scratched up against something in my knife roll, is my guess at the moment. It might have dulled in my knife roll. Okay. It's okay. It's not a big deal. We just wanted to chunk it up, get it to be a little bit more manageable in size. And now, we have a bunch of beautiful tomatoes, nicely sliced up. Here's what we're gonna do, my friends. We're gonna grab this bench scraper that we have here, my favorite tool in the kitchen, and we can just get rid of all of these little splashed out seeds. We can clean up the liquid on a cutting board for the majority of it, and then we just squeegee it off, and then we use a paper towel to soak up the rest. Just to clean off the station, because we still need to use it for some other things. Okay, great. Glad we're on the same page. I'm gonna go ahead and put the tomato and onion behind me. I have no use for it at this moment. Next up, we're gonna do the ginger. You ready for the ginger? Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a little piece off. I don't like having too much ginger in my curries at all. This piece right here is going to be plenty for me. I find that ginger can easily become overpowering, and people use way too much of it, generally speaking. Trust me, ginger, especially this old, can be super, super potent. Now I'm going to use my knife. I'm going to shave down the sides. You can peel this with a spoon if you want to get the little Food Network bonus points. I don't do that because I think it's kind of cringe and it's a waste of my time and it's ineffective. And I don't care if I waste a little ginger. It's ginger. It's super, super cheap. But feel free to peel this with whatever method you think is best. But yeah, this is a fairly potent ginger. I'm just making a lot of curry, right? I just don't want ginger to become my predominant flavor. So my friends, let's begin the ginger prep. We're going to start by taking this, we're going to smash it down. Take it, stack it up vertically if you can. Take it, smash it down. Flatten it. Then we're going to go through it and slice it up as thin as you humanly can. You can do this in a blender if you want to make some separate garlic ginger paste. Totally up to you. Give it a little rotation. And just keep going, my friends. We're slicing it, we're crushing it up, we're getting all this beautiful ginger. And you don't want to leave it too long after you do this because it does tend to lose its potency if you just kind of let it sit out like this. But we're not going to take too long. Okay, and I just want to keep on going through this. The more you mince it, the more potent it's going to get. I don't want to have any big pieces of ginger in this whole thing. I want it to basically dissolve, right? Does anybody have any questions so far about everything we're doing? And we're going to do a recap once I'm done with all of this prep, my friends. Okay, I'm going to do one last pass through. No, chef. Okay, guess what? We have all of this ginger. It's been nicely sliced up. Nicely minced up. Pick it up, put it on my little garnish plate. Okay, next, we gotta talk about garlic. And you already know, everybody, guess what? Anybody that's already been in stream, can you educate the chat, please, on how I'm going to do the garlic? Can you please tell everybody right now that is watching what we will be doing to get a perfectly minced garlic clove? What do you know? Who knows what we'll be using? A garlic press. That's right. You know why? Because chopping garlic is sticky and uncomfortable and a waste of everybody's time. It's time to press. Oh yeah, baby. It's press time. So, I always peel the garlic cloves initially over the bowl so that none of the skins get onto the cutting board. Take a bench scraper, flatten it, crush it down. Crush out like all of your hopes and dreams. But guess what? You're on the Daramgar cooking show. I'm gonna help inspire your hopes and dreams. Crush it. And guys, remember, with garlic, the finer you mince something, the stronger it tastes. You need to use less garlic if you mince it all the way down. And once you've crushed it, what you've effectively done is you've separated the skins from the rest of the clove. Yeah, I don't want to break a knife. I don't want to cut myself on the knife accidentally. I don't want to dull my knife. So I just do it like that. I don't think I crushed this enough, but the skins just pop out when you give it a little smash. That's why people smash it. You can also do it the classic way of peeling it with like a paring knife, but nobody has time for that. It's nice and easy. It gets the job done. Okay. I could have smashed this a little bit more, actually. Sweet. Come on, buddy. Come on out. I know you can do it. Why is this one so stubborn? I think I just didn't smash that side enough. Okay. Ugh. We have this little piece of the root, the super dried out part that I wanted to get rid of. And now we're just going through the rest of it, my friends. Just peeling it off. It takes 1 second. Just tap it out. Hello, Lilith. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. Welcome on into the stream. Is this your first time? And where did you come from? As in, how'd you find me? Okay. I believe we have now officially peeled all my garlic cloves. Inspect it one more time for any skin remaining. We're going to go over to our ginger plate because they're going to be added at the same time. And I like plenty of garlic. Add as much or as little as you would like. But I'm adding roughly 3 times the amount of garlic to my ginger. Crush it, smash it. Look at this, nice and easy. I hate chopping garlic on a cutting board. Indeed, Twitch recommended. Well, welcome in. If you have any cooking questions whatsoever, I'm here to help you out and help answer them for you. Look at it. Oh, I love a garlic press. Can't get enough of these things. Okay. Next one going in. Next one going in. Look how much garlic we have. Perfect. Some will say this is too much. Not me. Great. Get a little shitty knife. Scrape against it. You can use a steak knife. You can use a butter knife. You can use whatever that you would like. Get the rest of the garlic out. And that, my friends, is now a bunch of minced garlic and ginger for today's curry. I'm going to quickly rinse this out because otherwise it will stick and dry up on the inside and become very, very unpleasant to use. And it won't be able to clean out. So just take something, poke some holes in it, get it done now so you don't have to worry about it later on. Okay? Great. Garlic chads stay winning, that's right. That's what I thought. So, now we have to go on with the rest of the process. Let's do a little recap really quickly. Actually, there's one last thing that we have to prep. It's going to be the parsley. We have to do the parsley. I'm going to have some leftover parsley that I was actually just going to mix into the rice whenever everything. You know, it was just going to go into the curry once that was done. So all I'm going to do, I'm just going to scrape up whatever is on the cutting board really, really quickly. Using my bench scraper, clean it all off. Let's mince up some parsley. And that's going to be the last little bit of prep that we need to do. Promise. Okay, let's take this all out. I wanted to use up the remaining bit of my parsley. I wanted to finish my curry with it. Typically, you'd also use like cilantro or something. I had parsley, I'm using parsley. That was my entire rationale for something like this. Okay, I'm gonna just throw this into my dishwasher really quickly. And then I'm just gonna go through it. I'm gonna take all the stems off. I'm gonna take all the stems off and I'm gonna mince up those leaves. And then we'll be ready to keep going. Okay. So, there is a reason that I like doing that. Okay, is the bench scraper sharp? No, it's just slightly sharp. It's just like a sheet of metal, but it's not sharpened. It's not sharpened. Okay, let's get in here. All we're going to do is just pluck off the leaves from the stem. You can leave some of the smaller stems. It's totally okay though. We're gonna do a recap. I'm gonna plug my Patreon one more time. And then we'll begin the cooking, my friends. Are we excited? Hope you're excited, because I am. Again, you just want to get rid of the big stems because they're going to be kind of woody. They're going to be a little bit fibrous. Okay. Let's keep it going. Almost done. Okay, now that should be it. Okay, let's go ahead and just slice up this parsley. All we want to do is we want to take it, we want to bunch it all up together. Take it together. Hold it in your hand very gently, and we're going to slice it, not crush it. You crush it, you bruise it, you lose flavor because you crush more cells and it oxidizes faster as it releases its chlorophyll and whatever else makes herbs taste the way they do. So we just take it in our hands, we're gonna bundle it up, just like so, get it on a cutting board, hold it down, and now we just slice. We don't crush it, we don't chop it, we slice it. And look at this, we get beautiful little shavings of parsley this way. Excellent. And this is all gonna go into the curry at the end. Just to give the whole thing a nice little bit of freshness. Give it a little 90-degree rotation and just slice it up. Make sure you're just getting rid of any of the big leaves. You can go as big or small as you would like. And yes, no gloves at the moment, just because I forgot to put them on. That's all that happened. Beautiful. It's it. It's done. Let's take a separate plate. This is a plate where it'll go. And I think that is the entirety of the chopping and slicing and dicing for today. So I'm going to take a second to arrange everything. And are we ready for the recap, everybody? Are you ready for the recap? You know what I want to hear? You know I'm waiting from you. Yeah, chef, perfect. That's what I'm talking about. I'm just going to throw things into my dishwasher now. I no longer need my bench scraper. I've done all the slicing, all the chopping, all the cutting for today. That is all done. We're cleaning as we are going. Perfect. I'm just going to wipe off my station. And I'm going to set things up so that we can talk about everything. Okay? Actually, I don't even think I need a waste bowl anymore. Oh. We actually did all the prep that we needed to today. Throw that into the dishwasher right now. Ooh, nice and easy. And now I'm going to set up everything to just show it off to you guys. To everybody in chat right now. So, everybody, let us begin the recap session for today. Let's talk about everything we've accomplished and what we have left to do. We have accomplished all of the prep work. First up, we did the chicken. We had chicken legs, we had chicken breasts, we had chicken thighs. We deboned everything, and then we cut it up into equal-sized pieces. We're gonna first cook the chicken thighs and the legs longer because it's dark meat, and then we're gonna very gently poach. We're not gonna fry this meat, we're just gently poaching it. And it was all dry brine, so it's all fully seasoned with salt. Okay? Next, we made this gorgeous spice blend. Gorgeous. Whole spices. We toasted it, we ground it ourselves. Cumin, coriander seeds, black peppercorns, and mustard seeds. In addition, ground fenugreek, turmeric, cloves, and later on, a little bit of black cardamom as well. The fenugreek is what makes it special, and it smells incredible. It smells absolutely amazing. Next, we have some garlic and ginger. Garlic ginger paste, essential in Indian cooking. You see it in almost every single dish. We have some of these bird's eye chilies for the heat. We have some of this onion for the sweetness that it provides. The tomato is going to be the base of it. And then I also have this leftover red pepper tomato sauce that I made with coriander and cumin. That's also going to fit in so I get to use it up. It's nice and smoky. It's super, super delicious. Okay? We're going to make some Haiga rice. I sliced up some parsley. And last but definitely not least, I've made a beautiful batch of ghee. We took a bunch of butter. We evaporated the liquid, we browned the solids, and now we have this amazing, amazing fat that we can use to cook with that looks almost like caramel, depending on where you're from. And that's exactly what we're gonna do right now, my friends. It is time to begin the official cooking segment. It's time to do everything. Is everybody excited? I'm excited. I'm ready to do this. But also, before we begin, really quickly, everybody, I did just launch my Patreon. You can just scroll down to find it. You can go into my About section. I need a little bit of help funding the grocery cost for these streams. I want to be able to keep this free and accessible for everybody. Any amount helps. I only need 14 or 15 people at the highest tier to be able to afford the grocery costs to do this 12 times a month. All right? Any and all help is really, really appreciated. It goes a super long way. I'd like to make this a full-time thing, and I would like to keep this accessible and free for everybody. And so I'm a little reliant on your donations. So thank you. Sorry about that I had to do that. The perks are you got to support me, and there's a private Discord server for anybody else if you want to get some more one-on-one interaction or something. We have a community Discord that's publicly available. That's going to be a private Discord. Okay, that's enough. Sorry about that. I just want to get that done and out of the way. And now, my friends, we can actually begin the cooking process. So, let's go to the stove really quickly. This is my beautiful Le Creuset. Hello, Jack. Welcome, welcome. This is my beautiful Le Creuset Dutch oven. It's going to hold heat very well. People do two mistakes. Number one, they heat up their Dutch ovens on way too high of a heat. This is, and exactly, keepers, that's totally okay. This is only for the people that are able, capable, and willing to do so. You are not obligated to. Nobody's obligated to. Everybody, do not blast these things on a high heat. You will ruin your enamel coating over time. Next, don't heat it up when it's empty because that will cause hot spots. We have a bunch of this ghee. We're going to put it in. A couple big spoons of the ghee. 1, 2, maybe even 3. To cook all of the onions down and to cook all the aromatics in. Maybe a little bit more. And then we'll add more later on as we need it. Okay? And that ghee, delicious, nutty, toasted. Where did I learn all of this, cowboy? I am self-taught. I've been cooking ever since I was 7 years old. I've consumed through a lot of trial and error, a lot of cooking content. I've consumed a lot of cooking content and I've fallen into a lot of pitfalls. I have learned vehemently through trial and error and studying other people, and I have built up a lot of understanding and a lot of theory. Nothing I'm teaching you here is a recipe. This is not a recipe. I'm teaching you technique and I'm teaching you theory so that you can apply it to different things. I taught you today how to toast spices, how to compose a spice blend. I taught you how to make a ghee that you can use for whatever you'd like, how to make that clarified butter. I taught you how to debone a chicken. You can take everything that I've taught you, all of these different techniques, and apply them to different things. The last thing that I want you to do is to copy what I did here. I want you to look at your fridge, look at what leftovers you have to get rid of, and think about how to make it your own, how to make it special, how to make it creative, and how to make it efficient in your own home ecosystem. That's what I want everybody watching this stream to be capable of doing. Okay? That is my end goal. That is what I want to develop here. So, the ghee is currently going. We're heating it up nice and hot. And then we're going to throw in the onions to actually properly cook. Let's set up the station for that. Because what we're going to need is going to be a nice little wooden spoon. Just like so. We're going to need a nice little plate. And guys, another thing I see people do. I see people, for whatever reason, they take metal tools to the enamel Dutch ovens. Do not, under any circumstance, use metal tools on an enamel Dutch oven. Also, Dosky, thank you for stopping by. This is, treat it like you would a non-stick pan. Treat it like you would a non-stick pan. Don't use anything abrasive on it. Use wooden tools, use silicone tools. Don't, kill it with heat, and don't heat it up without anything in it. And then your Dutch oven's gonna last a while. We've had this Dutch oven since the summer. And you, guys, how many Dutch ovens have you seen that are chipped, that have like the black spotting on the bottom? We have none of that. You know why? Because we take care of our stuff here. This is an important and expensive piece of equipment. Maybe more expensive than it should be, it does not matter. The point is, we are treating it with care, with respect, and we can heat it up slowly. A lot of people complain that cast iron has uneven heating. You know why? Let me tell you why. When you take cast iron and you crank up the heat on it, and you heat it up for 2 minutes on a maximum heat, you know what happens? You know what you get? You get very hot spots and you're like, ooh, the pan's ready for your steak. And then you get cold spots. The best way to heat up a cast iron anything, enameled or not, is a medium heat, or a high heat if it's not enameled, over time. Do it slowly. And that way, you'll get even heating all the way around. Do not just heat it up super aggressively. And that is how you destroy an enameled pan over time. Yes, absolutely. That way we won't get any stickage. How many times have you done something in an enameled thing like this and gotten stickage? You know why? Because you have cool zones. You have zones that didn't get properly heated, and you didn't get zones that are properly lubricated. Okay? You need to absolutely heat this up low and slow with a little bit of oil in it. Well, in this case, my ghee. And my ghee smells beautiful. I can smell it, super, super aromatic. We're letting it go, we're doing its thing. So here's the order of operations, everybody. First step, we're gonna cook the onions. We're not just sweating the onions, we're going to brown the onions. After that's done, we throw in the garlic and the ginger. The reason we don't do the garlic and the ginger in the beginning is because that has the highest tendency to burn. They tend to burn a lot faster than your onions do. So we do it after, alongside the chilies. Then we fry the spices a little bit. We don't want to burn them. They're super, super fragile, right? They're already ground up. We don't want to burn the spices. We fry it for about 20 seconds. And then we add in my chopped tomatoes. And we let the whole thing cook. We let it simmer down. Then we blend it all up into a beautiful sauce with some half and half. And then we throw in the chicken thighs. Let the chicken thighs cook for 10 minutes. We throw in the chicken breasts. We let that cook for 15 minutes. And then we will be done. And in the meantime, we'll be working on some beautiful Haiga rice as well to work with. So, the ghee is nicely heated up. I'm gonna go in with my onion right now. Low and slow, we heat this up. Take it, mix it around. It smells wonderful. I could have used a little bit more onion in retrospect. But we're taking the onions and we're just frying it in all of that ghee, my friends. And I think I did get my ghee a little bit too dark the first time around, but that's okay. Beautiful. And now, my friends, remember, we don't have salt in any of this. Right, so we're going to have to start seasoning this whole thing by layers. The only thing that really has salt is the chicken pieces that we dry bread beforehand. Excellent. Smells amazing. I do think I slightly burnt my ghee the first time around. So I'm not going to be able to fry these onions nearly as much as I would normally like because I don't want the whole thing to have like an acrid, burnt flavor to it. I think I ended up getting some of the proteins pushed through. Okay, I ended up getting some of the stuff that we didn't want in the whole thing. But that's okay, it happens. That being said, it smells fantastic. It smells nutty, it smells sweet. We're frying the onions now. My friends, we're building flavor. And the reason we fry the onions and not just boil them is because we get it a little bit sweeter and we get a little bit of a nutty caramelized flavor out of it. Okay. Okay. And by the way, while we're doing this process, does anybody have any questions? So take a look. Yeah, I don't think I made the ghee the best. It's starting to burn a little bit on the bottom. I'm not going to be able to fry these onions nearly as much as I would normally like to. So we're going to just go ahead right now with the garlic and the ginger. We just want to get that fried off a little bit if we can. Right, I didn't strain this out. I don't think my coffee filter did a good job of it. I should have double strained it or something. Take the garlic and the ginger and we're frying it up. Excellent. Then we're also going to take the chilies that we have and we're going to fry it up a little bit. This isn't frying as much as I would like to, but my friends, instead of trying to push that caramelized, toasted, fried onion flavor, we're making sure that the whole thing doesn't burn. Because the biggest risk is that the whole thing can burn. And as soon as it's burnt and it all goes into the curry, the whole thing tastes pretty bad. So we have to make some compromises, we have to make some sacrifices and adjust on the fly. You could have also taken the whole thing out, made a new batch of ghee or something. We're not doing that. We're just going to go with the punches. It's not optimal. I know it's not optimal. So now we're adding a bunch of the spice powder that we made. And then it begins to flood your whole kitchen. A bunch of it, and I do mean a bunch. All the coriander, all the turmeric, all the fenugreek, everything. And we're frying it for just a second in all of the oil, just to have it dissolve in the oil a little bit, just to fry it a little bit, just to develop its flavor. 10 more seconds. We don't want it to burn though, so make sure you're scraping it up. And then we're hitting it with all of the tomatoes. The tomatoes are wet. They're going to stop the frying process. And then we're going to add some water to boil the whole thing down. But we add the tomatoes because we don't want to fry the tomatoes. We just want the tomatoes to release their own liquid. Okay, my friends? Hi, hope you're also well, Isaac boy. Okay, little splash of water. We don't want anything on the bottom to burn. We want to give the whole thing a bit of a head start. We're deglazing it with the water. And again, this didn't fry as much as I would have liked it to. I understand that. I hear you. It's not optimal. I get it. But look at this. Oh, and my friends, I'm going to do the cooking content creator thing. You know what I'm going to do the biggest cliche alive. If only you guys can smell it. I wish you guys could smell it. Also, little Adrian, I love curry. It's good to see you. Welcome on in. We're scraping up the sides. We're making sure nothing is stuck to this. Making sure nothing is stuck to the bottom. The water is going to do a great job of taking care of that for us. And now, my friends, the goal of this is to just cook the whole thing down. Get it all nice and soft. Blend it up. And we will have a beautiful base for the curry. Let's talk about everything that is in here for anybody that might have just showed up. We made our own ghee. Might have burnt it a little bit, but that's okay. We made our own spice blend with cumin seeds, with coriander seeds, with black pepper, and with mustard seeds. And then we added some fenugreek. Oh, amazing. We added some turmeric, and we added some clove. And then I almost forgot this little guy. Black cardamom going in, and we're gonna fish it out after. I don't like too much black cardamom. Nice and citrusy. We took a whole chicken. We deboned the whole thing. We took out the bones on the legs. We took out the bones on the thighs. Okay? We did everything that we needed to for it. We did absolutely everything. We chopped up the chilies. We added some garlic. We added some ginger. We fried the onions. We fried the garlic ginger. We fried the chilies. We fried the spices. We poured in some water. We added the tomatoes. And now we're letting the tomatoes soften. We're letting the tomatoes get nice and tender. We're gonna blend it down. We're gonna add some half and half to it at the end. We're gonna add this roasted red pepper sauce that I had set aside as well. It's gonna be amazing. And then we're gonna take it, we're gonna blend it up, and then we're going to strain it all out so we get the silky, smooth, delicious thing. And then we're going to poach, not boil, but gently poach, not blanch. Poach the chicken in it. It's gonna be amazing. This is the start of something extremely special. It's aromatic. It smells sweet. We just want to soften up those tomatoes. We're not looking for a very sort of cooked tomato flavor. We just want to get it softened enough that it can blend together. That's the only point that we want to hit. Ooh, Big Zach. I hope you enjoy the goes. Is it going to be my technique for it? Okay, it's taking a second to catch up on some stuff. Okay. With miso and tahini, oh, that's a lot going on. Ooh, the spices are like hitting the air now, and I can really, really feel it. I hope the Thai bird's eye chilies weren't like too spicy for me. I am, after all, at the end of the day, white. Just happens. Look, I love spicy food as much as the next guy. My spice tolerance, it's all right. It's okay. It's not the best, it's not the worst. People have it worse, okay? It's just what I am. I know what I am. Okay. I'm just putting some things away. Just want to get some things out of here. Because remember, everybody, I'm cleaning as I'm going because I'm in a home kitchen setting. I've also realized we don't have that much to do left, which does kind of suck. That's okay. I'm putting my ghee away. I'm getting all of that done. My friends, does anybody have any big questions, any big cooking questions? This is a very nice time where we have a little bit of downtime, and it would be perfect for you all to ask me anything that you have on your mind. Even if it's like beginner questions, any big food questions, I would like to start a conversation because all we need to do is just soften this whole mixture until we can blend it down. Okay? Please help. I realized I didn't pace myself nearly as well as I usually do. I should have gotten some other stuff done like at the same time, but that's okay. It happens, such is life. But it is gonna be really, really delicious today. Ugh. Are you one of those people that, ooh, hold on. I got a good question. Dirk McNasty asks me, are you one of those people who eat straight butter? Am I one of the people that eat straight butter? I am. Anytime I cook eggs and I get a little bit of butter out, I always take a little nibble for myself. I love butter. So yes, I love butter. Delicious. Okay. Let's see what's going on in chat. Did you search about Brazilian food? Asks me Zuma Lavo. Wait a second, Zuma Lavo, you were that guy on Twitter. Zuma Lava was the guy on Twitter that said, you talk like an autistic boy. I think that was Zuma Lava, right? That was you? Okay. Sorry for putting it out there. It was really funny. It was one of my favorite things anyone has ever said to me in a while. It was so fucking funny. Okay. So, I did do a little bit of research about Brazilian food, and the conclusion that I've actually come to is I'm going to need a couple of extra things in my pantry. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the stream so far. I'm going to do a couple of extra things because I want to get, what's it called? Maniac? I'm not actually sure how to say it completely. If you'd be able to spell it out for me phonetically. But yes, I would love to try some Brazilian food. It's just, there's like some sausages and some meats that I don't actually have a lot of easily, readily available access to. I don't have a lot of experience eating Brazilian food in general because there's just no Brazilian communities or restaurants in my area. Aside from just a couple of times, right? And I really want to figure out what is the core and the essence of Brazilian home cooking. I want to teach people how to cook at home. I want to experiment with things that I think are optimal to make in a home setting. Ooh, now this is boiling a little too aggressively. We're losing a little bit too much of the moisture too fast. Just add more water if it ever gets too dry. We're just softening up the tomatoes. We're softening up the onions. We're just letting it go, and it's getting all nice and viscous. I think it's like this. Do I have a plan for my next tattoo? Asks Jack. And the answer is yes. I want to do something with my collarbones. I was thinking like either like pins or scratches or like gashes, like bleeding through my collarbones. That's what I had in mind. Yeah, that stuff would be really exciting. I saw somebody on Twitter that had something, and I was like, man, I need to get my collarbones tattooed. So, Duolingo as my family has asked, do I consider nutritional value when you cook? And I have an excellent answer for you. I have a little answer for you. My example right here is the Haiga rice. We eat so much plain white rice in our diets that I have basically made an entire switch and substitution over to Haiga rice. It has the germ, it has a little bit more fiber in it. So I do. And sometimes I intentionally include, sorry, I got distracted. What happened? What was I talking about? I just completely lost my train of thought. Yes, it has a little bit more nutritional value. Sometimes in traditional applications, I would also include the potato skin in something because I like the texture of potato skin and I like its nutritional value. And I think less about nutritional value and more about mitigating waste. I think I care more about mitigating waste. Right? Above all else. I like to make functional food at home. But yes, and I do think about nutritional value for myself. And also, by the way, yes, also, I don't cook with any sugar. I don't add any sweeteners. I don't add anything for the sake of sweetness. I don't add any sugar. I don't add any honey. We eat so much sugar in the Western world. We eat so much. It is absurd. It is absurd. There's a whole history of it, of how Coca-Cola or the, whatever American group of big sugar guys, Big Sugar at some point, when they saw that there was a study, I think it was in the 70s or 80s, in the World Health Organization journal, that there was a study that showed, hey, these massive rising rates of obesity, it's caused by sugar. They threatened to revoke their funding, doctor their own research that said, actually, it's animal fats that are causing this instead, and completely tanked the dairy industry. And that's why we have skim and low fat and all of this other nonsense. So, I don't cook with a lot of sugar because we're going to get sugar in our diets from a million other places. We get sugar in so many other places in our diet. We get sugar anytime we go out to eat. Because I promise you, any food that you go out to eat for will have sugar in it. I, as a political principle, as an ethical principle, do not cook with any sugar whatsoever. Also from a nutritional standpoint as well. So we're just cooking this whole thing down. We're getting it all nice and soft. Make sure you're scraping up the sides. Okay. Slightly lower heat. I don't want to evaporate all the liquid. I just care about softening my tomatoes. And then we're going to taste the whole thing, which I'm very excited for. At the moment, it is still delicious. Ooh. Okay. we do have to do two things. First of all, I'm gonna just wash up my knife quickly because I don't want like the ginger to mess it up or anything. I just wanna get my knife nicely cleaned up again. It's a lot easier to wash your tools before they dry up, right? Before all the stuff dries up. Super flavorful. That curry that we're doing, my friends, it is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. Okay, we have to do a few things. We have to set up the blending station for this. Because we're going to blend this, not in here, because I don't want to like scratch it up. I'm going to be using an immersion blender. I need to set up another vessel that will be tall enough that will allow us to blend stuff in it. So let's get that going now, my friends. Okay, so just got that done and out of the way, my friends. Yes, but on it with you, mostly I just really don't like sugar, right, and what it sort of like implies. Okay, we have to set up a little station. And so, and again, and none of this actually comes from like any like bizarre, look, anytime people get into like a big discussion and debate about like sugar and stuff, it usually becomes like fat phobic like pretty quickly. Where they like, you can see like the scorn and hate and disgust. My scorn and hate and disgust is for the big corporations. It's for the big corporations that have employed and exploited extremely horrible capitalistic models to try to get as much of it into the diet as possible for the sake of profit. That's what I find evil above all else. Okay, so we're setting up a little towel just to insulate the whole thing. Setting this up. Then we're going to get a nice little vessel, I suppose, to blend everything in. Okay. I have my blender. I have my blender attachment. It's all gonna go in here. I just wanna get this done ahead of time and in advance, right? So that we don't have to worry about setting it up when it comes down to it. Okay, this is the blender. Excellent. And then I'm just gonna go around and I'm gonna go ahead and plug this thing in. I'm gonna plug it in. We're gonna get ready for use. And then, my friends, you will see how beautiful this whole thing is gonna be. Now, is this going to reach? The answer is not particularly. It'll be okay. So, we're gonna give this another second. It's almost done. It's almost where it needs to be. The only thing we really have left to do, I just have to wash out my strainer. I used my strainer for the ghee before. And now I'm just gonna need it for this. Okay, my strainer is now nicely washed. I'm gonna just have it set aside for now. Sit down a little bit. Okay, everybody, I do believe we can actually begin the blending phase of things. Is everybody ready? Actually, we could theoretically just blend over there. I think I'm just gonna blend over there instead. Yeah, I know what I'm gonna do. I apologize, it took me a second to think about it. Let's set things up. Is everybody ready? Let's head to the stove. Let's kill the heat on this. The tomatoes have now softened enough that they are ready for blending. First step, you see this little guy, this little black cardamom? It's already done its job for us. We turn the heat off. We're going to mix it up and we're going to scrape up anything that's remaining on the sides of this pot. I'm gonna take the Dutch oven. Are the handles hot? Nope. Great, I can pick it up. And that's another thing. Not having a super massive fire means your handles stay nice and cool. This is the pot that I set aside. My blender. I have a nice little immersion blender, a nice little stick blender, right, which we'll get to in just a second. Right, we're just being nice and organized about this whole thing. We're getting nice and organized, we're staying composed, we're staying together. Okay, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this on in. And remember, we have to take the black cardamom out, right, because we don't wanna blend that in, it'll be fairly unpleasant. Now we're gonna take a ladle, and we're going to scoop everything on over to this pot. I don't have chat open. Actually, I'm just gonna have it on my phone. Did we get a 30-second countdown? Cool down. We don't really, you don't have to worry about cooling it down. In fact, if anything, you wanna make sure that this stays nice and hot. The reason you wanna make sure that this stays nice and hot is because hot things tend to blend a little easier. Okay? So we only just turned it off the heat so it's not boiling as we blend it, but blending things while hot in an immersion blender, using an immersion blender. Oh, what happened? Jack, what are you talking about, Jack? I'm not sure what you're going on about. Okay. I think we need a little bit more light just to see everything and see how it's all going. Okay. Let's get all the tomatoes, all the onions, all of the spices. Really delicious, really, really aromatic. All the chilies inside. Okay. Just get it inside. And it's okay if like some of the liquid actually remains in the pot itself. I just want to get the solids out. That's kind of my priority at the moment. Would I join Hell's Kitchen? No. I strongly and ethically disagree with everything that Gordon Ramsay stands for. So I will not. Okay. Getting all of it done. Again, you can leave some of the tomato seeds. It's okay. It's not a huge deal. Right? And we're not a restaurant kitchen. We're not going to tilt this over and pull it out and get it completely perfect. We're just going to do the best job that we reasonably can. So Audio Murphy asked me, how will you balance the acidity? That's a really good question. We have to think about the natural sources of sugar in this. Specifically, the tomatoes, the half and half, and the onions are all going to add quite a bit of sweetness to the whole thing. The more you cook this, the less acidic it's going to get. The sweeter the tomatoes will become. If you feel like the sauce, this curry is too acidic, you're just going to want to cook the whole thing down a little bit more. I hope that answers your question. So if it tastes too acidic, you just got to cook it longer. It depends on your tomato. We're just looking for sweetness. I hope that helps. That was a good question. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I am going to take my blender, stick it in nice and tight, make sure it won't pop out. We're going to first start by smashing everything down. Just get rid of any of the big chunks. In fact, I think I'm going to just start with a low speed, and then we'll tune it up to high. I just don't want it to splash all over the place. And now, my friends, the beautiful curry is all coming together. It's blending up nice and smooth. And now we can go with the high, because if it's no longer splashing once we've taken out all the solids. Well, mostly not splashing. Excellent. Does anybody have any questions about, ooh, okay, you don't want to really pick it up when it's blending, unless you want to get it all over your walls. Does anybody have any questions about this process? And we're going to go super, super fine, and then we're going to strain it out to get rid of any of the lumps, so that we get a very special, very silky texture. Once you hear that, that very like high-pitched clean noise, that tells you that you've already blended up that section to its fullest. You can already see how smooth it's all getting. Listen to the noise. Listen to the music of it. Once it starts getting consistent sound, that's how you know it blended up all the chunks in that area before you move on somewhere else. And look at this. It's getting nice and smooth. Beautiful. Guys, this whole thing is getting nice and creamy, isn't it? It's getting really, really special. I'm not sure if this is ASMR. This is a loud mechanical noise. Can you imagine? Immersion blender ASMR? It's like, oh, I don't know how to do an ASMR voice. I'm not like that. Okay? But imagine immersion blender ASMR and it's just like distorted, bass boosted Vitamix noises. Oh, that would be so good. Okay, this is now done to my liking. You don't have to get super crazy with this if you're gonna strain it after. Just look for any big pieces that might be left over. But I see we still have some tomato. And now, guess what? Because of the fact that we did all the effort and the work beforehand, we set up a perfect station to take this off using this plate. Guys, that little bit of pre-planning, I'm telling you, it makes a world of a difference. And then we can just take this away. I don't need it. Goodbye. You're done. You've done your job for me. Thank you. You're just a contractor. You're not salaried in this position. Gonna take my blender out. Gonna wrap it up. Gonna make as much space for myself as possible here. I'm telling you, that little bit of pre-planning, it makes a world of a difference. Okay? I'm going to take a paper towel. I'm going to wipe down some of the stuff where it all splashed around really quickly. Chef, you have an important question? Jack, what's your question? Did I make tea? Oh shit, I did not. Chat, do I make tea? Press yes, chef, or say yes, chef, if I should make tea. Say no, chef, if I shouldn't make tea. My fate is in your hands. Tell me what I'm doing with my life. You know what, guys? Maybe that's gonna be my donation incentives. Every $20 somebody gives me, I make a cup of tea for myself. And I just start gulping it all down. At some point, I'm gonna have to switch over to chamomile. Okay, fine, I'm gonna do it. Somebody donate me $15 and I make myself a cup of tea. Listen, it takes a high price. All right, it takes a high price to get this kind of stuff done. I'm not cheap. Okay. Please, nobody do that. Please do not give me money for this. Dosky's already gone. Dosky's long gone. Okay, my friends, here's what we're gonna do. This is all of the beautiful sauce that we made. We're gonna just throw it over here. Okay? We're gonna get a wooden spoon nice and handy. And we are just dumping the whole thing on in. Perfect. And I didn't do a perfect job of blending it all down, as you might see. It wasn't perfect. But we got most of it. Excellent. And now we can just scrape it up. You don't want to really move the strainer too much because it's just going to scratch and chip the enamel. But we're just getting all of it pushed through the sieve at the moment. Push through the metal strainer. Okay, I do want to actually just take this pot really quick before this dries off. It takes just a second to dry off. I'm rinsing it off, and I'm also throwing that into the dishwasher. And this is, my friends, is how we get a very nice, silky, smooth curry. This step of straining it is completely optional. It's up to you, but I wanted something a little bit more refined. And yes, Audio Murphy, you may lick the pot. I will allow it this time. Okay, I apologize for having my back turned so much. but I just gotta get this step done. So you're just scraping up the sides, you're pushing the solids through. And we're going to leave any of the big chunks, any of the big seeds. Ooh, did that just splash all over my floor? I love cooking. Yes, it's my favorite. Ooh, my favorite thing is when stuff splashes on me. Look, guys, I'm a professional. I, Daramgar, am a professional. I deserve to be treated like one. Thank you very much. It's so over. It's not over. It's not over. We're still fine. Just scraping it up, moving it around, pushing it all through. I just splashed even more in my kitchen, and that's okay. It's fine. I'm a professional. Not sure if you all know that. Okay, if I slap it and splash it on me one more time, I'm gonna fight somebody. I'm not sure who, but it's gonna be somebody. So you can see, now we're keeping all the solids in here. We're just continuing to push it through, get all the liquid out, get all the puree out. We could have definitely blended this a little bit more, but it's a little too late. Everything is happening according to plan. This is just a bunch of vegetable paste, effectively. All the fiber, right, all the skins from everything. It's all going in here. Okay. And I bet the whole thing is going to be spicy because we blended the seeds as well. Okay. That is now officially done, my friends. I'm going to just scrape off the spoon, and I'm going to get everything off the sides of my mesh strainer, make sure I'm not wasting anything. We worked so hard to make all of this. Why waste it now? Okay? Set it aside on that plate that we put together. I'm going to take another second to wipe down my kitchen. Okay, we've done it, my friends. We've officially blended this all together. Look at this. Look at this beautiful base for this curry. Are you joking? Do you understand how serious this business is today? Do you guys understand how beautiful it is? Okay. Here's the next step. This pot in total might have actually just been too big for the amount of liquid that I have. I thought I would have more. Interesting. I really did think I was going to yield a little bit more. Oh, but look at that curry. Look at it. Look at it. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to throw some stuff into my dishwasher yet again. I'm going to just get rid of this. And again, because I have a strainer, I don't want it to dry out and clump up inside of my strainer. I'm just going to get rid of this now, throwing it away now, because we're cleaning as we're going. We still have not yet turned on the heat. And we'll do a little bit of a recap session for everybody, just to make sure that everybody is following along nicely. Okay. I'm just washing off my strainer really quick, getting all that done. Okay, my friends, we're staying organized, we're keeping it composed. Let's get our next spoon out, because I don't need this ladle for a little bit. And this next spoon is going to be handling some raw chicken. Or rather, some tongs. That's what we'll be using. We'll be using some tongs. You get the whole thing together. And the next step here, I'm going to add this sauce from... I'm going to add this red pepper tomato sauce. The lid fell. I'm having a day. I'm having a moment. This is the red pepper tomato sauce with the half and half. So the whole thing, it's getting added. We can even add a little bit more half and half inside, just to get anything remaining on the edges. But Just scrape it all out, get it into the pot, and we'll do a recap as we heat the whole thing back on up. Nice and smoky, delicious. The sauce that from last time was incredible. Okay. Buttery, smooth, silky. Guys, look at this curry. Have you seen a more perfect curry? Has anybody ever seen a more perfect curry than this? We're getting it back onto a medium heat. We're going to get it up to a simmer. And we're just going to add a splash of half and half into the whole deal to make it nice and creamy. And then we're going to taste it. You guys have seen a more perfect curry? Are we serious? It is the most perfect curry. Thank you. I'm glad you understand. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. And we're going to do a little bit of half and half. And then we're going to taste it. So the thing that's going to happen is this definitely lacks salt. If anything, this definitely lacks salt at the moment. Okay? So a big old splash of half and half going in now. Because again, it's a curry, right? We want it to be nice and creamy, nice and delicious. Oof. Look at this thing. Look at it. Beautiful. And now it's going to be time for us to cook the chicken once this heats back up. I'm going to just use this little silicone whisk to quickly and easily mix this whole thing up and scrape along the sides. Having a silicone whisk is nice for little niche things like this. And we might add more water to thin it out, but honestly, I love the viscosity at the moment. I love how thick this is. I think this is my ideal thickness for a curry. I don't want it any thicker. I don't want it any thinner. Wow. It's actually just perfect. Okay. The whisk, you know what? We're going to keep it around. We're going to keep it around because you don't know what might happen. You don't know what the circumstances are. I'm going to have it around just in case. Hello, SMG Hottie. Welcome, welcome. So we're just going to bring this up to a boil. I'm going to taste it while it's nice and hot. And then we will decide if we need to do anything else with it. Everybody, little recap session. We've accomplished so much together. First step of today, we made a ghee. We took a bunch of excellent quality Kerrygold butter, boiled it down, evaporated the liquid, and toasted the milk solids, got it temperature stable. We made a spice blend out of what? Coriander, cumin seeds, black pepper seeds, mustard seeds. We toasted it, we grounded it up, grinded it up, and we added turmeric, we added fenugreek, we added clove, and we added cardamom. We sliced up an onion, we sliced up a tomato. Also, Audio Murphy, thank you so much for the $20 donation. Audio Murphy, does that mean I'm getting a cup of tea now? Thank you so much, that's very sweet of you. Whoa, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna finish this. My train of thought, that is really quickly. Okay. I forgot my train of thought completely. And then we also deboned a bunch of chicken legs. We took out the tendons out, we got it nice and tender. So we have a bunch of pure meat that's gonna go in. We're gonna cook the dark meat. Then we're gonna cook the light meat, the white meat. We're gonna make some rice. We're gonna finish the whole thing with parsley. And then we're going to eat. Look at this beautiful curry, finished with half and half. The cooked tomatoes and onions, the cooked spices, the garlic, the ginger. It's full of aroma, it's full of character, it's full of flavor, is what it is. And all the pectin and the tomato skins get it nice and thick. So Audio Murphy, tell me, what am I doing with myself? It's Audio Murphy's decision. Oh. You joking? Oh, that's so good. That is so good. You guys have no idea how good that is. Okay, I'm gonna make some tea. And then we gotta work on the rice. Ooh, yes, Big Zach, I'll talk to you in a second. My kettle's all the way back here. That's right. And even if those spices weren't fried, I actually think I want to do some more spices. Not more heat. That's plenty of Thai chili. But I'm going to do some more of this, is what I'm going to do. This is where the whisk comes in. I have just stuff scattered around the kitchen. I'm gonna add some more of my spice mix. Okay. Everybody, it's happening. Everything is developing exactly the way we need it to. I'm heating up some water. So Big Zach, I'm gonna answer your question in just a second. The next step is I'm going to quickly start doing the rice, because the rice should have happened a little bit ago, but that's okay. So, in a little pot, look at this cute little pot. Look at this cute little pot. We're going to dump in a bunch of the Haiga rice. Remember, Haiga rice is special. It has the germ of it intact. So it's not just the grain itself, but has the bran polished off. So it's a lot more nutritional value. I'm gonna make perfect stovetop rice every single time. I make perfect stovetop rice every single time. The volume, the ratio, none of that matters. I'm going to show you how to visually test for it. No need to think about the weight, no need to think about the volume. I'm going to show you exactly how much water you need to get the perfect texture of rice every single time. At the moment, we want to turn down the heat on the curry that we're doing. Want to turn it down, want to scrape up the sides, it carries a lot of heat with it. And now, my friends, we're going to do the addition of the dark meat. So all of the legs, all of the thighs, all of that is going in now, because that is going to take the longest to cook. That we want to cook down, that we want to get nice and tender. Okay, stir it in, that's why we have the separate tongs. And we want to gently poach this. We don't want to boil this. We don't want to overcook the outside. We just want to gently go for 10 to 15 minutes of this. Okay? Gently bubble it away. So my friends, we're not using a rice cooker. We never use rice cookers here. I'm going to show you. First, we're going to rinse it. Always rinse it in a bowl. Always rinse it in a pot. And I'm going to show you how much water you need for the perfect ratio. Okay, so bear with me. I'm going to take chat with me. I don't have a sync camera, so I'm just going to take you all right here, and I'm watching chat in the meantime. People keep me entertained with questions. Okay, I'm just washing my rice, and you could do this as much as you would like. I find it does get rid of some of the gloopiness. But guys, how many times have you, I want to ask right now, how many times have you made rice at home in a pot and it was gloopy and sticky and basically like a porridge? So the reason why I'm not using a rice cooker, I'm going to tell you exactly why. First of all, it's a flex, and I have to do rice perfectly without a rice cooker. It just is. I feel a lot better about myself. Second of all, it builds a sense of intuition. I will be in circumstances where I won't have a rice cooker. I will have to work with different varieties of rice. Thus, I need to learn how to do this thing, especially for dishes like paella. You can't do paella in a rice cooker. You have to build that sense of rice intuition outside of it and understand the way that it works. I think a rice cooker is a crutch. Third, I live in a New York City apartment. I don't have the space for a rice cooker. And fourth, I make better stovetop rice than anybody else. Better than anybody else. I promise you that. Okay. So, I'm going to show you my rice in a second. I'm going to show you how much water I have above it. Let's get rid of this question. And the only thing is I noticed I actually made a little bit of a mess on the back of the Dutch oven, and I don't know how that happened. Rice intuition is a powerful skill. Better than Uncle Ben, much better than Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben doesn't got anything on me. Okay, I just gotta wipe off my Dutch oven. I got some crud on the side of it. I don't know how that happened. Did I just catch my paper towel on fire? The answer is a little bit. Okay. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna mix this through. So, I'm going to show you all right now. Ooh, this is coming together, my friends. This looks beautiful. Oh, that curry is gorgeous. We're gently cooking the chicken, right? We're not boiling it to death. So, my friends, let me show you my rice. Let me show you my rice. Look at my rice. I want to hear yes, chef, right now. Is everybody paying attention? Is everybody taking notes? Everybody taking notes. And also, Jack, that's not necessarily true because sometimes you want to intentionally keep things bland and neutral. Good. Number 1, this fingertip rule. You know that? Anybody ever tell you fingertip rule? Nonsense. Your fingers are not the same as mine. We have different sized fingers. We just do. Straight up we do. So, here's what you need to understand. The more water you add, the mushier your rice is going to be. The less water you add, the more granular it's going to be. Theoretically, without accounting for evaporation, you could do a 1-to-1 ratio of water to rice and do it in a closed environment and it will be perfect. But the issue is you'll never be able to do that because you'll always have some amount of evaporation. So, you need a little bit extra to account for evaporation and you need more depending on how soft you want it. Are you making a congee? Are you making a porridge? Or are you making sushi rice? So let's take a look. And how long are you cooking this rice? This is Haiga rice. This needs 20 minutes to cook once it comes to a boil. I want a little thinner layer of water above it. This I've built up over time with a little bit of intuition. I can tell you right now, that is a couple of, that's like a ½ inch too tall. So I'm going to splash out some of the water over the top. I want a nice granular rice. And now take a look. Take your fingers, make it a little DBT tool. Distribute it evenly. That's how much water I want on top of it. You want to fill it with water to the surface of the rice and then go a little bit above and start experimenting and start understanding. The more water you add, the mushier it's going to be. Next, never stir your rice once you start cooking it. Never stir your rice. Never stir it, okay? And you won't get gloopy rice. If your rice is gloopy, you stirred it and you have too much water. That's it. We're going to leave it alone. We're going to bring it to a boil, drop to a simmer, cook it for 15 to 20 minutes, typically 20 minutes, because I'm using the Haiga rice. Bring it to a boil, drop it to a simmer. That's it. Just like that, my friends. It's just that easy. And now the chicken, the thighs, the legs, they're braising, they're getting super tender. These, we want to get them nice and tender, okay? This is the dark meat. This is where we want to break down all of the collagen, turn it into gelatin if possible in this short amount of time. And now, I will also make a little bit of tea for myself because guess what? I'm feeling like a bit of a tea boy. I did not forget about you, Audio Murphy. Don't you worry. Look at that curry go. Look at it go. Do you understand? We have made every single component in there with love, care, and affection. You wish that was you. But guess what? I care about all of you too. So I'm happy to have you here. Okay. I'm getting my tea ready. I'm not going to do caffeinated tea. I'm going to do chamomile because I'm currently on a little bit of Vyvanse, right? Because ADHD. So we're not going to do more caffeine in my system. We're not going to do more stimulants. So my mug is ready. Open it up. Such a good vibe. Zimalava, I'm glad. Oh, I'm glad. I'm here for the vibe and I'm here to teach you things. And once again, if anybody has any questions whatsoever, I'm here to be your food educator. Right? I'm here to help you out. Pour in some of my hot water, and that is how you make the perfect cup of tea. I don't think I have to teach you how to do that. Smells amazing, smells great. We're gonna let the tea steep now. Audio Murphy, thank you for the $20 donation. Everybody, for every $20 you donate to me, I'm going to drink 1 mug of chamomile tea. Maybe I'll stop it at a certain point. Maybe I'll have like a backlog. That might just be what happens. Okay. It's bubbling away. And most importantly, the rice is about to bubble away too. So we got to make sure that we have a lid ready for it. And the more viscous this gets, the more it's actually going to end up splashing. So you also want to make sure your heat is low, not just for the sake of the chicken. Guys, we're not trying to boil the chicken. We're not trying to destroy it. We're not trying to overcook the outside of it into a hell. Right? The reason we're doing a low heat is to stop the sauce from splashing everywhere and to gently poach the chicken. We barely want to see any bubbling on it. Barely any bubbling. I mean it. The higher temperature you cook the chicken, the more the outside is going to be all grainy and overcooked. Oh, it'll be a mess. You don't want that. You do not want that at all. Okay. Also, by the way, everybody, make sure to cook your rice for long enough. You can't actually, in my opinion, you can't overcook rice. The only thing you can do is overcook the bottom of it and get the bottom of it like really, really dry and crunchy. Also, hi, Walla Walla Man. But you can't really overcook rice, but you can definitely, what is the pita bread? Audio Murphy, this is a curry. What pita bread? If we're, doing a curry, we would have like a little bit of naan, right? But we're just making some rice as my staple starch of today. Okay, lower the heat. Beautiful. Slap a nice tight lid on it. Nice low heat. You can't really overcook it. You can only just develop a crust on the bottom. You can use stainless steel, you can use non-stick, you can use whatever you want. Whatever your little heart desires, my friends. Okay? So I'm just cooking the chicken through, and then in 10 minutes time, I'm gonna add my chicken breasts. I didn't add my chicken breast sooner because the chicken breast can get grainy and overcooked. We wanna braise the thighs, we wanna braise the legs, we wanna get them nice and tender and melt in your mouth. Okay? That's exactly what we're doing here. In fact, I think soon enough I'm gonna start transitioning back over to like a silicone spatula, just so that I can scrape up like the sides of my Dutch oven. But in the meantime, I can just use a piece of chicken as like a sponge. And then in 10 minutes or so, I'm gonna try a piece of the chicken and all of that lovely little curry. It should be cooked by now, but I wanna get it tender. Okay? I'm not doing that, Jack. I'm being normal. But everybody, this is just gonna be such a simple, delicious meal, huh? And this is what I consider to also be the epitome of home food. We used up the existing chicken that we had. I repurposed this red pepper sauce that I had, and I'm able to give it new life and make it into something truly special. I was craving a curry. I don't have good Indian food in my area, and this is gonna be really, really delicious. You can smell the fenugreek, you can smell the ghee. The ghee is it's just so nutty and sweet smelling. It smells like a pastry, is the really beautiful part about it. It really does smell like a pastry. It's so cool. Oof. I'm getting a little bit tired. We've already been live for 2 hours and 40 minutes. Wow. This might be one of my uncommon 3-hour streams. That doesn't happen with me that often anymore. Is everybody holding on? Is everybody okay with the length of today? I'm sorry if this is like a little bit inefficient. It's good? Okay, sweet. You're EP? Yeah, I know the longer the better. It's just I want to be very mindful and accommodating of my European audience. Okay, everybody, we just have some cooking left to do now. All we have left to do is a little bit of the cooking. So, does anybody have any questions? Now's your time to ask me big questions. Start a discussion with me. I am all yours for the next 8 minutes, and then I'm going to add the chicken breasts on it. Okay, my rice is puffing up. Like it's really, really foaming up. That's telling me my lid is a little too tight and my heat is too high. That's all that means. Yeah, my heat on my rice was a little too high. Everything is foaming up on me today. Do a little bit more heat on the chicken. It's basically completely stopped the boiling. But again, I wanted it to gently cook after all, right? I didn't want it to splash. I didn't want to do anything crazy. Okay. Oh, I did not get back to you about the tomatoes. Can you type your question again? Also, Jack, I do use it, its pronouns. I do not use she. Also, Zumalava, there's no such thing as asking too much. I'm just trying to keep myself entertained. This is just me making a mistake. I just made a mistake of not really pacing myself the best. Now, I am confident that the chicken is like fully cooked, right? I just want to get it tender. I'm going to give the whole curry a little bit of a try now. Okay. So, Big Zach asked me, why the preference of using fresh versus canned tomatoes? So, really good question. Canned tomatoes are canned at peak ripeness, usually. If it's a good brand of canned tomatoes, they take them at the peak of the season, you know, summer to fall. They take them, they can them up, and then they're good all year round. So there's a problem. Very good canned tomatoes are pretty expensive. They're not cheap. I'm not even talking about San Marzano ones. I mean like actually like good farms. They're not the cheapest. Second of all, I don't always need a very good tomato if I'm cooking it down in this way. Although it does objectively make a better product because of how many other components I have going on, I can use shitty out of season fresh tomatoes. Okay, out of season when in the winter time, I can use those tomatoes because I have so much other stuff going on. And I'd prefer to use fresh as opposed to canned because I don't want the additional metal waste. But basically, really good canned tomatoes are a little bit more expensive. That's all. And I don't feel like for a dish like this would be important. Now, if I was making a straight tomato sauce, I would buy the best canned tomatoes I can. But for something like a curry, something that's filled with a bunch of spices, not so much. Oh, I'm hungry again? Well, welcome on in, Squelch. Hope you're having a beautiful New Year's Eve, depending on where you're at. So it just depends, and they're different products. It's mostly about the seasonality. I'm gonna give it a little try to the curry. You guys have no idea how delicious that is. I'm gonna add the rest of the spice blend. Fuck it, all of it in. That was a lot of spices. And yet, I was like, it's not enough. Okay, this is going back to splashing now. So we have to keep playing and dancing with the heat until it stops doing that. Cut it out. Who do you think you are? Mix in all of the spices again. And then we're gonna add the chicken breasts and the tenders in just a little bit, my friends. So hang tight. We're just letting this, we're letting the thighs, we're getting the legs, we're gonna get that all nice and tender. Super delicious. Should I say mandioca? Or is it mandiosa? I'm not sure. Yes. So I just threw in all the coriander, all the cumin and stuff, all the ones that I had left over because I didn't do all the spice blend that I had. So it's just going. The only thing it needs there's going to be a little bit of salt. Remember, my friends, taste as you go. Little tasting spoon, you're going to keep that thing by your side. You're going to keep busy with it, okay? You're going to taste it, you're going to adjust. Because guess what? Things change. Stuff releases water, water evaporates, your salinity, your flavors, everything is prone to changing. So we're just stirring all the salt around. The legs and the thighs are getting nice and tender. And soon enough, we're gonna do it. Okay, so it's, I see. And now, I bet we can have a little sip of tea. Have a little sip of tea and see how it's going. Lovely. A little bit of chamomile, can't go wrong. In fact, I'm gonna go a step further and I'm gonna put it on a coaster. Thank you, Audio Murphy, for sponsoring this cup of tea. Sweet. Slightly lower heat. It's bubbling too much again. We just want slight bubbles, very little bubbles. Excellent. Look at it come together, my friends. Look at that curry. That curry is some serious business. I put in a lot of love, a lot of care, a lot of attention. I really want to make more Indian food at home because I don't have excellent Indian food available in my area. I want to be able to make it better. I want to be able to make it better. And I want to be able to make it cheaper. For whatever reason, restaurant Indian food is so expensive for no reason. Despite a lot of the components being like super, super cheap to make, it's just brutal. I want to make Indian home cooking, right? I want to make things that are suitable and optimal in a home environment. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. And we're not compromising on any of the flavor, on any of the techniques. We're putting a lot of effort, a lot of care, a lot of love into everything that which we do. So, my friends, let's take the silicone spatula now, because we're kind of like roasting all of the stuff that's on the sides. We want to just scrape it back in using the silicone spatula. Get it all inside. Excellent. That's what I'm talking about. That is a beautiful pot of curry so far. Perfect. The extra spices really did help. It's really, really special. Okay, it's still going to need a little bit more salt, especially with the addition of all that extra chicken in a little bit. And now, my friends, guess what? The rice has 11 minutes left on it. That is about as long as the chicken breasts are going to take. Remember, we intentionally separated the breasts, the tenders, from the thighs and legs. Thighs and legs are dark meat, they take a long time. Breasts and tenders, you don't want to overcook them. With now 11 or 10 minutes to go, we're going to go ahead, grab this beautiful stuff, and we're just going to dunk it in. And that's why we have the separate tongs, so we can still use it to handle all kinds of raw meat. This are the breasts, these are the tenders that have been dry brined. They're going to stay nice and juicy. And they're going into the curry. And this is going to cook in total for about 15 minutes more. And then we'll be done. That's going to be the whole thing. Get it in there. It's going to cool the whole pot down. Make sure it's stirred around so that there's no like sticky clumps of anything. And that is now effectively raw chicken, my friends, right? So we want to have a separate dedicated plate for the job. I'm going to go ahead and take my sheet tray. I'm going to throw it into my dishwasher because I'm cleaning as I'm going today. Always, always, always clean as you go. It'll save your life. It'll change your life. And also, Audio Murphy, this cannot be called tandoori chicken. Tandoori refers to a specific type of oven, right? So you can't really have a tandoori chicken without a tandoori or a tandoori. I don't think it's tandoori. It's called a tandoori. Just like without the I. I'm not entirely sure. My friends, again, remember, dark meat and light meat, or white meat, they're very, very different things. And the reason that they're so different, aside from the actual concentration of the myoglobin that makes one dark meat and the other white meat, is the presence of all the tendons and connective tissue. The breasts and the tenders are basically straight lean meat. The same idea as a steak. You don't overcook a steak. You don't cook it past a certain point. Unless you're trying to shred it up or something. You don't overcook it. But the legs and the thighs, they can stand up to that long cooking because they have all that connective tissue. They have all that collagen that needs to be broken down into gelatin for you to get a nice tender leg and thigh. They cannot be cooked the same. They cannot be treated the same exact way. That's why we added the chicken breasts so much later than we did the chicken thighs. I want a nice juicy chicken breast. I want a melty, fatty chicken thigh. I don't want chewy, dry chicken legs or chicken breasts and then undercooked chicken legs, right? Chicken breasts that are dry and stringy, chicken legs that are tough and chewy. So we have to compose everything. We have to orchestrate everything. We have to make sure everything is happening at the time and the place that it needs to be happening. So we're turning up the heat. We're getting it back to that very light bubble. It's bubbling, it's going. And we're gently cooking it. We're gently cooking it. If we did a high heat, we would be overcooking the outside of the chicken breast while the inside was raw. So look at it. Look at that. It is hot. It is warm. It is not boiling. And that is exactly the way that I want to keep it. Slow, low. It'll do the job over time, I promise. We're mixing it around, making sure to flip all the raw sides of the breasts back on in. And after 8 minutes, we'll cut into one to see that if it's done cooking or not. Beautiful chicken, my friends. I can already tell you, I'm looking at the pudginess of it. Definitely not cooked, right? It's only been there for a few minutes. It's basically cold still. But go slow. This is one of my favorite things I've probably made in a while. Everything today is just coming out perfectly. And then we'll fluff up the rice. We're going to finish it with parsley. We're going to serve it together. What more could you ask for? That's what life is about. But yeah, I do apologize for not pacing myself as much today, that we're just kind of waiting for this to be cooked. I guess in the meantime, the thing I do want to talk about is, once again, everybody, grocery costs, especially this time of year for me in my area, are really high. They're really expensive. Please scroll down, go to my Patreon, or you can even donate, !tip, !donate, to help with the grocery cost of everything. I only need 14 to 15 people on my Patreon, on the highest tier, to be able to fully afford doing my cooking streams, fully afford the grocery cost for them. Right? I want to be able to keep this free. I want to keep this accessible for everybody involved. I do apologize for shilling this so much. It's just, I'm going into a negative profit margin, right? And so I need a little bit of help. Thank you. I appreciate all of you. I do apologize for shilling as much as I have been today. I did just recently set it up. In the meantime, I am getting some more emotes and I'm getting some different sub badges worked out. So all of that is going to be happening later on. Just you watching is enough. You watching back the VODs is enough. I'm happy to have all of you. You all make my presence and feel very welcomed. I'm glad that I have like such a big audience that I get to talk to and educate about this whole thing, right? This is my passion. This is my dream, and I want to be able to carry it out. Okay. We're gonna mix this around. We're scraping up the sides. And now I can feel that the chicken is definitely firming up. It's definitely cooking now. Perfect. Oh, guys, this curry looks so good. What was my highest viewer count on the stream? I have no idea, keepers. I mean, in the beginning, as soon as I launched, it was like 120 people from my Twitter. Since then, it's fallen off a little bit because we're like settling into the actual like community of people that are going to regularly be here. Just keeping updated with some stuff. Okay. Also, hydrate. That's right. I do need to drink some water. Thank you for the reminder. Have a little bit of tea. That's right. We have the tea cam. Okay, we're just letting the whole thing go. We're letting it cook down. We're getting it all nice and tender. And then after 40 minutes, after we fluff the rice, I'm going to pull out one of the pieces of chicken and see how it's going. Okay? Specifically the chicken breast. I don't care about the cook on the chicken thighs and legs. I just care about the breast. I care about the white meat in this case, because that is the one that is definitely with the potential to still be undercooked at this point. But the thighs and the legs, they're more than done at this stage. And the more you cook it, the more your flavors are going to concentrate. You don't need me to tell you that. We have about 3 more minutes left on the rice. And after the rice is done, remember, you can keep it on the stove as long as you want. It's just going to develop more and more of a crust on the bottom. We're going to take a little spoon, a little wooden spoon, and we're going to fluff it around. Moon Boy, how long have I been cooking for? Since I was about 6 or 7. It's been a lifelong hyper fixation. It's been a lifelong special interest of mine. And I was pretty bad at it up until I was 18. I'm 21 years old now. And I think at 18 years old, I changed quite a bit. I changed when I was around 17 or 18 because I finally made the connection on how to cook in a meaningful way. I wasn't just making fucking steaks and mac and cheese. I was like, okay, how do I make my cooking impactful and meaningful and start applying this to greater life concepts? Okay? And so, ever since then, ever since I was around 17 or 18, I feel like I've actually hit this phase of cooking where I'm at now. Up until that point, I was able to make good food. I've been able to make good food for a while, but I was never able to make interesting food. I was never able to make meaningful food, significant food. And now what I want to do is I really want to revolutionize the way that people cook at home. That is my goal. That is my ambition. Also, rabbit raisins, you've asked me. It's a beautiful question. I really would like to answer that for you. You have asked me. Also, Happy New Year to you as well. When I try recooking chicken, it always goes stringy. Why does it do that? The answer is, when you cook something, let's say you cook chicken to 155 degrees Fahrenheit, and you chilled it, and then you reheated it again. You didn't reheat it back to 155 degrees Fahrenheit. You overshot it, and you've overcooked it, because in the process to get it warm again, it gets overcooked. The best way, the sciencey way of reheating something, reheating a piece of meat, would be to use sous vide. Would be to use a sous vide machine, because then you can set it to 150, 160 degrees. You know that it won't ever go past that point, and it won't overcook and it won't become dry and stringy, but maybe just a little bit. My recommendation, either eat it cold I never eat, so I always like kind of undershoot mine so it reheats well later. Be okay with the consequences, or transform it into something else where that stringy texture is acceptable. It is okay, dude. It is okay. Okay, so let's head to the overhead camera. My friends, it's time to fluff up the rice. The mouth piercing, how long did it take to heal? About 2 months in total. Guess what? The rice is now done, and I'm going to show you. Is everybody ready for my perfect stovetop rice? Is everybody ready for this? I mean it when I say I make the best stovetop rice. Also, hello, Dr. Slowbro. Hope you're having an excellent evening today. Yes, chef, I want to hear more yes, chefs. More, not enough. Keep it going, everybody. Your body's ready, chef? Good. Okay. First, I'm just going to set a towel to make sure that my table doesn't warp, because it's a metal table. Okay. Set that up. Here is my pot of rice. I want you all to take a look. And then as soon as we fluff it, you're going to see that final texture. Ready? We're going to take a little wooden spoon, nice and cute. Take it, scrape it up. Nice and fluffy, perfect for the curry. Not gloopy, not mushy. Exactly the way that I wanted it. Take a little bite. It's great. It's perfect. And then what you need to do is you need to spread it around. You need to mix it around. You got to fluff it up. And then you need to let it sit for 5 minutes. You're going to go ahead and set it aside. I added maybe a little too much liquid. It's a little softer than I usually do. But it's perfect. After you've moved it around, put a lid on it, and the texture is going to change quite a bit. Okay, everybody, guess what? It's time for us to try the chicken breast. It's time for us to try the curry, see where it's at in terms of seasoning. I am confident that the chicken breast is cooked on the inside. At this point, there was about 10-12 minutes of cooking. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to just scoop out a little piece of it. We're going to cut into it, and we're going to see, is it indeed fully cooked through? And if it's not, we're going to cook it until it is. I know, I just need to put more pots and pans on my wish list. So, small little piece of chicken. We can even cut through it with a spoon. Guess what? Completely, you can see it's still really, really nice and juicy on the inside. You can use an instant read thermometer, Zach, but it's too small. Stop the cooking. Stop the clock. It's done. Juicy. Look at it. We dry brined it in advance. Remember? Juicy, tender, perfect. That was a perfect bite of chicken just now. Amazing. The only thing it needs is some more salt. Whole thing needs a little bit of salt. Guys, dry brining it increases the moisture retention. It is perfect. Add a bit of salt. Add a little bit of salt. It's the whole thing. We can retire the tongs. The old contaminated chickeny tongs. Goodbye. I'm going to go ahead, throw that into my dishwasher because I am cleaning as I go. And now, my friends, the last touch. The final touch is going to be all of our fresh parsley. Fresh parsley going in now. That's it. We're gonna stir it around and we're gonna serve it up. It's gonna be amazing. Okay. Excellent. That was an excellent bite. We're gonna take our spatula. We're going to mix the whole thing around. Look at this curry, my friends. Look at it. It is perfect. And I like the viscosity of this a lot. It's not too thick. It's not too thin. It is excellent. And we gently cooked it so it's edge to edge perfect. Amazing. Actually amazing. That curry is incredible. You just can't beat it. Okay, my friends, it is time for us to plate. Is everybody ready? We're gonna do one final recap as we plate it. We're gonna find somebody else live on Twitch, or maybe we'll just sign off because it's New Year's. Not late anybody today. That's my thought. Ugh. Is everybody ready for the great plating? This is it, the final step, my friends. The final step. So, let's figure out what we want this on. What do we want this on? I'm gonna get a nice big bowl. Okay. A nice big bowl like so. First step, I'm going to go ahead and take some of the rice. And we're just gonna pack it up to the side. And remember, I told you the texture of the rice is going to change as it sits. I could have let it sit a little bit longer. We're going to do a little bit of rice because I'm not the hungriest at the moment. Look at that, perfect rice. Really, really delicious, nice and soft. If you wanted it more granular, you could have just done a little bit less water. So really good though. And then I'm actually just gonna go ahead and take this and just plate it separately. I'm just gonna do this over here. I'm gonna stir it around one last time, and I'm going to get a nice scoop of all that chicken. And of course, all of that cooking liquid, that sauce, that gravy, my friends. Because that's what it's all about. And now let's take a look. Beautiful. And also, a little cup of tea sponsored by Audio Murphy. Everybody, do you understand how much love and affection and care we put into this thing? This was our baby. This was our child, and we treated it as such. Let's talk about every single component in front of us right now. This is my chicken tomato curry. So, let's start with the chicken itself. We broke down a whole chicken yesterday. We took it today. We chopped off all of the bones from the legs, from the thighs, and we took out the tendons and we dry brined it with salt so it stays nice and succulent. You dry brine it so it has its moisture retention upped and that it's nice and seasoned all the way through. Next, we made a toasted spice blend. Cumin seeds, coriander seeds, black peppercorns, mustard seeds. We grounded it up after we had toasted it. Then we added fenugreek, we added turmeric, and we added clove. Excellent. We made ghee. We made ghee ourselves. We took some butter, melted it, evaporated the liquid, toasted the milk solids, okay? Strained it out. Next, we sliced some onion. We sliced some chili, we sliced some garlic, we sliced some ginger, we sliced some parsley. Okay. We took the ghee, we heated it in the pan. We fried the onions. We fried the garlic, we fried the ginger, we fried the spices. We deglazed it with the tomato and a splash of water. We let the whole thing cook down. We blended it up. We added some half and half to it. Then we took the chicken thighs and legs to braise in that liquid slowly. And then, 10-15 minutes after, we added the chicken breasts and the tenders so they stay nice and juicy. Tender legs and thighs, juicy tenders and breasts. We finish it with parsley, full of spices, and then we serve it with our lovely Haiga rice. That, my friends, is a curry full of love, full of care, full of affection, and full of technique. We did not skimp out on any technique. The chicken has been gently poached, so it's not overcooked. We're going to grab some of it now. Everybody, let's have a proper bite. You wish you were having this bite right now. Remarkable and outstanding. The chicken breast on the inside is so juicy. It's so moist. It's so tender. That fenugreek is incredible. And the black cardamom also really comes through. Just that one pod added such a citrusiness to it. I love fenugreek. And we finish it with the parsley, makes it nice and fresh. Oh yeah, you can definitely feel the chili. Amazing. Oh yeah. And this isn't some shitty curry powder. This isn't some shitty, grocery store McCormick branded curry powder. Full, freshly toasted spices, huh? We ground it up ourselves. We did everything. We toasted it. We gave it so much love. This is full of flavor, my friends. Oh. The ghee adds such a nuttiness, adds such a sweetness. Oh. That is some of the best food I made in a while. Guys, I make good food here all the time. I say that every time I make something, but this was outstanding today. Whew. Also got some heat to it. Everybody, before we sign off, talk to me. Any final questions, any final concerns, anything that you would like to say to me at all? I'm going to remind you all that, what was I going to say? Ooh, Miss Molly makes his life. Everybody, I want to remind you all. We open up the Patreon. Please, please, please support it if you can. I really need help with some of the grocery costs of everything. Happy New Year's to all of you. Of course, it is New Year's Eve. Donations are all appreciated. Please watch back the VOD. It's going to all be on YouTube. Next stream is going to be Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Next stream is going to be Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay? Happy New Year's to everybody else in chat. Everybody, thank you all so much for watching. I really, really appreciate every single one of you. This is the second to last of the holiday schedule before we go back to the regular schedule. I appreciate every single one of you. I hope you all have a happy New Year. I'm going to see you all in 2024 unless you haven't already, entered 2024. Thank you all. I had such a good time today. I had so much fun. I know today was a little bit longer. And I hope you all just stay safe and have fun.